the Suns home in 4 back in round 1, and now turn me down a little bit. Turn me down a little bit. Thank you. And we're out here right to it, by the way. So you have OKC, of course, sent them home, and now we sit here as Suns fans and watch everybody else play for it all. But look at the board. The entire Western Conference comes down to one game, Game 7 tomorrow night with Oklahoma City. Spurs just walked into that series, grabbed it by the collar, blew the Thunder out by 27 to force a Game 7. And Wemby looked like the next 10 years of this league, how it will be. 28 points, 10 boards, 3 blocks, and the 2-time MVP held to 15. Winner punches the ticket to the finals. And who's already sitting there waiting? We know it's the New York Knicks. We'll talk about that today. The Knicks, first final since 1999, riding 11 straight wins, rested up while the West beats itself up. Meanwhile, quietly, while the whole valley looked the other way, your Arizona Diamondbacks have turned into the hottest team in baseball. 14 of their last 18, 5 straight. Tonight, they roll into Seattle to find out if this is the real deal. And the Cardinals, well, they can't even agree on who's their quarterback. New coach, no Kyler, a holdout, a rookie turning heads, and Aaron Rodgers rumors still won't die, believe it or not. And we got it all. Brian Mahoney, AP, will discuss the Knicks. Steve Peters, ESPN, will join us to talk about the Cup final. Scott Spreitzer will give us his take on Game 7 in the NBA, and 2-time Super Bowl champion Mark May will join us and talk about the Cardinals' mess. Because, yeah, it is a mess, and we got to buckle up for it. It's going to be a long season, a very long season. Here we are, basically turning the calendar to June after this weekend, but still not looking forward to every Monday talking about how bad the Cardinals are. And we're going to start doing Kyler Murray highlights. We're going to dig, try to find something positive.
It just it amazes me when you think about Kyler Murray there in Minnesota, and everybody's like, "Wow, look at him." I'm like, "Yeah, look at him now." Wait till it gets to the regular season for he and J.J. McCarthy going at it. But the other thing, you kind of summarize the Valley of the Sun, Rock. You just kind of hope that the Diamondbacks can at least maintain some semblance, finish somewhat above 500. That their losing streaks aren't as bad, their winning streaks are more. And the litmus test will truly come to fruition, I think, with a lot of these teams when you take on the teams like the Dodgers and some of those teams like that. But as far as the Phoenix Suns are concerned, I think for a lot of Suns fans in many years, there's some hope. That hope, a little trepidation because of lack of size down the middle. We talk about Wemby. Look at OKC. What's the common denominator with both those teams? They got big dudes down the middle. You got Holmgren and Hartenstein. You got Wemby. So those are the 2 teams you're going to have to get through. And I think for Suns fans, I think we're not naive enough to go, well, if you add this and add that. No, you need to add some size, somebody big to be able to contend. And as far as the Cardinals concerned, Rob, we've never seen so much consternation, the term I'm going to use, with this team in the offseason. Seems like every offseason there's something going on. And if it's something that can't be managed, why is it rearing its ugly head here in the OTAs? The whole Josh Sweat situation. We had Howard Balzer on yesterday, and he said that there'd be a hint that Josh Sweat was maybe kind of sort of looking to move on. Okay, here he is in the twilight of his career, making big bucks, and probably 12 and a half sacks last year. So while all of a sudden here we are before training camp, a good month and a half, that this thing's reared its ugly head to an all new level. And then with the whole Jacoby Brissett thing, Jacoby, did you just get the epiphany that you wanted, something
close to starter money the last 3 weeks, and then you were just holding on to this nugget that before you had voluntary OTAs, you were going to spring this on the Arizona Cardinals? So there's some kind of miscommunication, or there's just a dysfunction with this organization that typically nips stuff like that in the bud. I mean, think about this. You think over the years, in OTAs, to have a guy that allegedly wants to get traded, and then to have another quarterback that wants to get paid, a backup quarterback wants to get paid starter money. Now, there's been quarterbacks that have been holdouts that have been working on their contracts, but it just continues.
Year after year after year, that these issues or these things rear their ugly head, that they can't have a clean off season. I think a lot of Cardinal fans are just hoping We just want to have a clean off season, go into the year, get everybody there, everybody learn the system, and hopefully they win 4, 5, 6 games, whatever, and rebuild over the next couple of years and try to become competitive. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me. Okay, the shoes. Do you think you should think two shoes drop? It's like a shoe drops every regular season, off season, on and on and on. And either Mahoney and Michael Bill have got to get on the same page and try to nip this stuff in the bud.
You just think that because we're in this market, we're hearing it so much. Don't you think all other 31 teams are having the same issues? Sports talk radio, they're in New England and they're in Green Bay and they're in LA and they're having the same conversations about their teams or not? Because the teams that I mentioned there have had some success. Well, we haven't had success here. I mean, this market has not, with the exception of 2 seasons, have had any success since '88.
Well, I think
right? Maybe how many seasons have they really been successful?
Man. Since '88,
get the Super Bowl,
5, 6 years. I mean, you guys remember that? Bruce Arians went to the playoffs for 4 years.
Okay, so those. All right, so let's get 5 years, maybe.
Was it not twice? Maybe 10 years they've been relevant since 1988.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I think a lot of teams have their internal things going on, but it seems like the Cardinals always make national news. I mean, this stuff is across the board. They're going, Josh Sweat, if he wants to get traded, hey, there's 7 teams that'll line up. So that makes national news. And then the whole Jacoby Brissett, there's a lot of guys scratching their heads going, look, Jacoby, you got found money. You're on your 9th life. You got 9 lives as a cat. You're on your 9th life. Let's not look to give horse in the mouth. Get what's fair. But if you're asking for $20 or $25 million, and the Cardinals will say, look, we'll pay you 10 to 15, or we'll give you a big bonus, or we'll throw a lot of incentives, then don't get things out of sorts, or that's not going to happen. See, that's the national perspective when it comes to the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt other markets. They're Cardinals are inquiring about XYZ on the Carolina Panthers. I mean, do the Cardinals ever come up?
No, they go.
It's like they're just out here in the wild west.
Yeah,
they're just out here on a little island.
Yes, I think that the stuff that I read is, Patrick Mahomes needs more weapons around him. Can Bryce Young at Carolina take his game to an all-new level? Can this quarterback make this happen? Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. They're going neck and neck. I mean, that's the kind. It's football stuff. It's not off the field stuff that the Cardinals seem to.
Well, I think there are, like, Philly has their issues right now with the story that came out a month or two about the quarterback, and then of course now when will Brown get traded to the New England Patriots? I mean, so they're having those same kind of conversations where they're having issues internally that should stay in house and they're out.
Yeah, and in
public.
And in Cleveland, I think that one caught us off guard that Deshaun Watson's going to get a legitimate shot to start at Cleveland, which he should, since he's got the guaranteed money. And he might, Rod, be the better quarterback out of all of them that are there. I mean, talent-wise. Mm-hmm. So if the owner says, hey, look, I'm paying you $50 million a year, it's guaranteed for 3 more years, I'm going to give you that initial shot, new coaching staff, new offense. So if they give him the initial shot, and Shedeur Sanders gets, he backs up, and he and the other kid are in the fight to back up. It's mostly football related, aside from the receiver that did go spend 30 days in jail. I just saw that. The receiver for the Chiefs, he broke his probation violation for being tested for pot. Yeah. So he's got to spend 30 days in the clink.
I know we talked about that earlier this week. Yeah, it's just nuts. It's just, but that's what we hear this time of year. Players getting in trouble. The police blotter, it's everywhere. So anyway, we'll talk some more football throughout the show. D-backs riding a streak into Seattle. They're hot. They took the finale the other day against San Francisco 3-2 and hoping to carry the momentum into the weekend series up there in the Northwest. First pitch, 7-10. Then it gets spicy. And I know everyone's trying to look ahead, look beyond the Seattle Mariners and say, okay, the real litmus test is the Dodgers coming to town on Monday. The only good thing is I hope because of the success, the Diamondback fans that have season tickets aren't selling them to Dodger fans. So we'll have more D-back fans at a Dodger game for the first time because of success. But, if I look at my schedule and I can figure out a way to go to one of the D-back games, I want to go see Ohtani. I mean, that's
Sure.
I mean, love to see him pitch.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's appointment sports.
Yeah, and for right now, it looks as though, as far as the schedule is concerned, we got. You take a look at it. Looks like Ohtani, as far as the scheduling now, right now, he looks to be on Wednesday, June 3rd. To your point there. So Wednesday, 6:40 first pitch. So Ohtani's scheduled on June 3rd on Wednesday. Enjoy while you can.
Yeah. I mean, it's Ohtani.
It's Ohtani. I mean,
you have to go.
You know what? You can go there. You're going to go. Yeah, for those that lived during, if they're still alive, during the Babe Ruth era or Mickey Mantle era or whatever. This is an era with Ohtani we haven't seen since Babe Ruth. There's been nobody that's pitched and hit on a regular basis going way back to the mid-20s when Babe Ruth was pitching. They eventually got traded to the Yankees. They just put him in right field, never let him pitch again. But I mean, this is something that history, that when you go and watch it, Rock, and say you get to 85, 90 years old and you're still, you got that walker, you're going, hey, look, I watched that kid. And that's probably one of those you'll never see again. We're going through maybe a once in a lifetime situation. If we are here to watch it and enjoy it and to see if there's a guy that can win the Cy Young and MVP. And who knows, could you imagine when this we had throw something else? Triple Crown, MVP, Cy Young. I mean, it's possible that this guy can achieve those kind of goals.
Wouldn't that be awesome? We'd love to see it. Wemby was burying threes from another zip code. How about that? We got a national vote saying the D-backs are flat out for real, and a familiar number one popping up, Minnesota Purple. It's our replay rewind. All of it is next. Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B, right here on ESPN Radio Phoenix, 98.7 FM, HD2, and always on the Arizona Sports app.
Fight fans, Twin Peaks is your headquarters. Catch the greatest fight night action all month long, including premium matchups and wall-to-wall sports with no bad seat in the house. Grab made from scratch food, scenic views, and ice-cold beverages served at 29 degrees while every punch, takedown, and main event plays across the lodge. Don't watch the fight at homes. Watch them at Twin Peaks, where the energy feels like fight night. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Rock for WrightToyota.com. At Wright Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all their innovative web tools on WrightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at WrightToyota.com.
It's Kevin Rowe from Learn Rowe, trusted across Arizona for helping injured people after serious car wrecks. And I'm Sean Forrester, managing attorney at Learn Rowe Law Group. We may sound alike, but Learn Rowe Law Group is a completely separate firm focused solely on criminal defense. We handle serious felonies, DUIs, and misdemeanors with decades of courtroom experience. If you're facing criminal charges, don't wait. Call Learn Rowe Law Group now at 602-977-1900.
Learn Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Hey, Arizona State football fans, London is calling. The Sun Devils are headed across the pond to face Kansas in the inaugural Union Jack Classic, September 19th at Wembley Stadium. It's the first college football game ever played there, and you should be part of it. For tickets, hospitality, and travel packages, visit UnionJackClassic.com or contact the Sun Devil ticket office. Join Coach Dillingham, Sparky, and the Sun Devils in London. Forks up. You push hard. You train hard. Shouldn't your soda work just as hard? Meet Kunu, the superfood nutrition soda packed with whole vitamins, electrolytes, and antioxidants. Only 5 grams of natural sugar. Over 2,000 5-star reviews. Voted the #1 soda for athletes. Whole food nutrition. Great taste. That's Kunu. Go to HUNUsoda.com and use code ESPN for 10% off your first order. Kunu Soda. Soda that's actually good for you. KunuSoda.com. Code ESPN.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views.
Now it's time for our replay rewind. The top sounds of the night and whatever Roc decides to add. Let's get to it in replay rewind with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620 and on FM at 98.7 HD-2.
All right, we told you D-backs were quietly cooking. Well, Tim Kirchin from ESPN has noticed too, and we have some sound of him. And here he is on whether Ketel Marte is the best second baseman in the entire sport right now. Listen.
Ketel Marte just finished a 10-game stretch where I think his OPS was 1.500. Every time I looked in the box score, he went 3 from 4. You could really make the case, even though there's some good second basemen in the major leagues. Nico Horner, Altuve, of course, Bryce Durang. That Ketel Marte is the best second baseman in baseball, and he showed it lately.
I think a couple things here, Roc. I think that he's finally showing it this last month, these last 4 weeks. I mean, we talk about a guy that was hitting, 207, 3 weeks ago. And now you look at Ketel Marte, and he's hitting, 270, 276 now, 60 points. So I think he's showing why he's that best second baseman overall. But for about the first month, we're like, Ketel, what's going on? Because you would think a veteran at his stage of the game, 8, 9, 10 years, would be able to get together quicker. But for some reason, they made some adjustments, and he's just on fire.
Best second baseman in baseball. How about that? All right, hang on to that one. But it gets better because it's not just Marte. Kirchin was asked the bigger question. Are these D-backs for real? And almost a full minute on why he's buying it. Here we go.
I think they're legitimate. I think they are a playoff team. They're the number one, tied for the number one wild card team at the moment. They're 7 games over. They won 5 games in a row. And they are doing this with a bunch of injuries, especially to their pitching staff. Granted, they took care of the Giants and the Rockies, which you're supposed to do when you're playing against teams that you're better than. But I'm really impressed where the Diamondbacks are right now. And I don't think this is a mirage. I think they can keep this up. And even though the competition in the National League, especially for the wild cards, is really fierce, way, way stronger than in the American League, I would say the Diamondbacks have a real good chance at this point of being a playoff team. I don't think they're good enough to beat the Dodgers. I don't think anyone's good enough to beat the Dodgers over 162 games. But they're really good right now.
The one stat he failed to mention where the Diamondbacks are right now, this is the one stat where they end up and one of the worst in last year, was runners in scoring position. The Diamondbacks are number one, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, Roc, is the clutch hitting, moving runners over, either bunting them or driving it to the right side, moving guys. So they're number one. I mean, they've come a long way. I mean, these last 3 weeks, this team is batting-wise, fielding-wise, starting pitching-wise, gone to an all-new level. So you brought this up yesterday. Maybe Torey Lovullo used to have a few more heart-to-hearts with his staff and his team.
For real. I mean, national voice, no hedging there. We'll kick into this streak a little bit later as well. Now to the big one. Game 7 in the NBA tomorrow night. And if you know why the Spurs are still alive, it started early. 3 triples in the first quarter from a 7'4" human being. Here's the calls.
Wembanyama going to look from deep.
And no hesitation, Jamal. He has to be aggressive, Reg. Whenever he's aggressive, it sets a tone for his team. They do not want to disrupt the flow this young team has. Last hit. For that right away. He got it. And Oklahoma City timeout. What's the 90-second day? Push it, everybody back for 6. I mean, look at the separation created there by Wemby. That's his 3rd triple of this first quarter.
0 for 5 last game, 4 for 9 last night, 3-point shooting.
Great.
I think that what Reggie Miller said right there. He was bound and determined. It was like, give me the ball. I mean, I want the ball. I'm going to show these guys. I want to set the tone. And he did. Rebounding-wise, assist-wise, just overall his demeanor seemed so much more different. And they made some adjustments, which allowed him to get to the rack. And there lies how versatile and flexible his game is by shooting those 3-pointers.
So San Antonio walks into Oklahoma City's house, and they forced a winner take call. Here's the moment on NBC on how it all ended.
The Spurs have pulled it off, and there will be a 7th game.
Place went absolutely bonkers, didn't it?
It really did. It was all about the third quarter. I mean, they came out and they just set the tone defensively, only allowing 13 points. OKC held the 13 points in a quarter. And these games, SGA, you look at these games, he's outstanding, but not like last year when you saw him have big game after big game after big game, especially in the Western Conference Final last year. And then Jalen Williams was really a non-factor. When he tried to go, he'd come off the bench a couple times. He really didn't look like the same Jalen Williams. But once again, that home court advantage. So Game 7, as you mentioned, tomorrow night, this should be a Donnybrook. This thing going down to the wire.
So how do you reset for one game? Everything's on the line. You're on the road. Here's the Spurs head coach, Mitch Johnson.
Like we have all year. I know there'll be a lot of added attention, a lot of eyes watching. It'll be a hostile environment, but we've been saying this for a long time. We've had a lot of firsts. This one will be a little bit more important or higher stakes than all the others. That's the goal, is you keep playing and the season gets longer.
I think the one thing that you look at is San Antonio's bench. I mean, they really get after it defensively. And that was noticeable when you look at it.
I mean, they were all over him. They met him literally just beyond the half-court line and were forcing him and harassing him because there wasn't many clean shots he had. He had to really earn every shot. So I think it's going to come down to San Antonio's bench if they have a chance to win this game. And then just the harassing defense that they've had, at least for their home games, more so than anything.
All right. And then finally, for our rewind, file this one under still feels kind of weird. And that's Kyler Murray and Vikings football talking about a new partnership with J.J. McCarthy. And yeah, that Kyler. Give it a listen here because it sets up for our conversation with Mark May a little bit later, just perfectly an hour after.
It's been great. It's been great. Obviously, I know he's a younger guy, so any way I can help him. Obviously, I feel like I've played 7 years now, going on 8. So I'm considered a veteran, even though I don't see myself as that. Give him any knowledge that he needs. Again, we're both competitors, and I know we both want what's best for the team. Of course. Yeah, he's overly accepting, and he's always communicating, asking questions, stuff like that. So it's been good.
AJ, what's your relationship been like with Kyler so far?
It's just like two guys in a classroom. He sits on one side, I sit on the other side, and it's the coach's responsibility to teach us and coach us. So,
is there any awkwardness between you two?
Awkwardness, it's just like the same feeling, when you're in high school and there's another person on the other side of the room. That's just kind of how it is. So I wouldn't say there's any awkwardness.
Boy, wow. Read between the lines on J.J. McCarthy's comments there, Rock. You hear Kyler Murray being the adult in the room, being very, very good about, hey, look, I'm here to help. We're here to compete. You're saying all the right things. And J.J. McCarthy sounds like he's got a little bitterness in that tone. He's on one side of the room. I'm on this side. And let the coaches coach. I mean, it's like, hey, JJ, just get involved. I mean, if you do start, he might be able to help a little bit. So you can tell the difference in the tone that, hey, Kyler's happy to be here, do whatever I can to help JJ. And then JJ's like, well, he's over there, I'm here. And it's up to the coaches to train us up.
All right, today's Replay Rewind is brought to you by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck, need a check, just make the call, 602-977-1900. And always, of course, at lernerandrowe.com. Our It's Your Call question of the day. What kind of Game 7 is most exciting for you? Is it hockey, is it NBA, or is it baseball? Those are your three choices. You can go vote on our Twitter or X.
Just search Roc.
Just search Roc and Manuch, and it's always brought to you by State 48 Roofing for a free quote. And get that roof inspected before the leaks, the monsoons. Just visit state48roofing.com. I don't know. That's a tough. I mean, they always say game sevens in hockey are the best because it's arguably
the best sport,
most physical. These guys are got weapons in their hands, skating on ice, going at it, as fast as they can, 200 feet. And I think I've talked myself into it. It's hockey.
I'm a huge baseball guy, as you know. I love baseball. Had to make that choice between baseball and football. NBA, it's interesting. You get to game 7, you blow out here, tight game 7. I'm more of a baseball guy because every pitch is going to matter. Every swing's going to matter.
But here's where I'll counter that. In baseball, all right, it's a game 7. D-backs are up 4-0, 5-0 in the first inning, second inning. It's over.
Not really.
It's over.
Did you watch?
Hockey's never over.
How about Toronto and the Dodgers last year when Miguel Rojas hit that?
How many times is that really?
Well, that's the excitement of game 7, Roc. I mean, you have a guy that's 34. He's a journeyman. He gets the game-tying home run. They go in extra innings. Catcher comes up, wins the game. I mean, I guess I'm more ingrained in that. I love watching game 7 hockey. I really do. Like going back and forth. NBA, it's to your point. If somebody gets up by 25 at halftime, can the next team really come back? Probably not going to happen. I just like
hockey, man. Goals. You see goals in seconds.
Sure.
Change the whole game in 30 seconds. 2 goals can be scored.
That would be my 1B. I'd be a 1A baseball. Then
that's not your option. You get 1.
Yeah. Baseball.
All right, I'm going hockey. All right, Prince was on the charts the last time the Knicks made the NBA Finals in 1999. Well, now they're back. They're riding 11-game tear here. Best stretch of basketball anybody's seen in years. Brian Mahoney, guy that's been coming on with us for over 20 years from Associated Press, covers them every single night. He will join us right after Laz gives us an ESPN Sports Center update.
Yeah, Mahoney has been coming on.
He's one of our first guys.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. ESPN 620 Sports Center update. I'm Matt Lazarus. The D-backs road trip continues tonight as Arizona heads to the Northwest for a weekend series with the Seattle Mariners. Snakes will now look to keep momentum rolling as they won 11 of their last 15 games. Zach Gallen will get the start for Arizona while George Kirby will take the ball for Seattle. First pitch from T-Mobile Park is set for 7:10 p.m. Pre-game coverage beginning at 6:30 on 98.7 FM. Also streaming live on the Arizona Sports app. With soccer dominating the headlines, Twin Peaks has a giveaway you need to know about. It's the Go for Goal giveaway. Soccer experience, including a hosted match experience, hotel stay, and a $250 Twin Peaks gift card. Enter now at twinpeakssoccer.com with no purchase necessary. And you want some bonus entries? Just grab your Twin Peaks receipt and enter the daily bonus code through June 14th.
Nobody does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Nobody. Whatever you're craving, we've got it. Tequila cocktails, premium bourbon pours, and top shelf spirits served over ice balls that hit just right. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails, yep, all here. And with 5 Valley locations. And don't forget the teeth-chattering 29-degree drafts we're famous for. Pair it all with scratch kitchen bites that actually satisfy. From shareables to hearty favorites. When it comes to happy hour, Twin Peaks doesn't play. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
Bigger fields, bigger events, bigger experiences. Arizona Athletic Grounds. Arizona Athletic Grounds is a 275-acre sports and entertainment destination for athletes, fans, and families. Located in Mesa, AAG is one of the largest multi-sport complexes in the country, with over 475,000 square feet indoors and more than 150 fields and courts. From tournaments to training to cheer, dance, concerts, and corporate events, the Grounds does it all. Learn more at azgrounds.com.
When it comes to your roof, you don't want to mess around. And Arizona homeowners and business owners have known that for over a decade. State 48 Roofing is Arizona's #1 referred roofer. Residential, commercial, they do it all. And they've been doing it right here in the Valley for over 10 years. Protect your home, protect your business. And hey, keep your roof sexy with State 48 Roofing. Visit state48roofing.com or call 480-268-4509. State 48 Roofing. Arizona's most trusted group.
Where are my keys?
So when he gets
Too sick to go to school.
If you're having a hard time living with all the noise, it's even harder to live without it. One fake fentanyl pill could cost your child their life. Learn how to talk to your kids at talknowaz.com. This message is sponsored by Substance Awareness Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
Phoenix, if you need a plumber, call the team that does it the right way. Victory Plumbing Arizona. It's particular plumbing for particular people. Upfront pricing before the work starts. So there's no surprises. The job's done. And here's the listeners. Tell them you heard Victory Plumbing on Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B, and they'll waive the service charge. Leaks, clogs, water heaters, or anything plumbing, book today at VictoryPlumbingArizona.com. ROC number 2686003. Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs every week. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eat, drinks, and see the views.
Step away.
But guys, you're right on the corner, right on Toyota, seated at 77th Street, Franklin Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now, back to their house on ESPN 620.
Brunson, his first shot, knocks down the three. Brunson with 7 to shoot. Jab step. He fires up a three. That's good. Jalen Brunson already with 8 points. Brunson wants some room. Uses a Robinson screen. Fires up another three. Puts it in. Incredible shooting. Knicks can't miss.
East Finals MVP, Jalen Brunson, just putting on a show.
Unbelievable.
Joining us now on the right to get signed here on ESPN Radio Phoenix. It's been a little while. Brian Mahoney, Associated Press, out there in New York. How you doing, Brian? Roc and Manuch, what's happening? It's been a while.
Yeah, how are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you carving out some time for us. When you look at the New York sports landscape, of course, the Yankees, the Mets, the Giants, the Jets, the Rangers, Islanders, Knicks, where does this Knicks run rank? Where does this rank?
Well, it's been so long that it seems like everyone is on board now. Obviously, for every Giants fan, there's a Jets fan and a Yankee, a Met, and so on and so forth. Right now, it seems like everyone is a Knicks fan, and it's been fun to see. Look, it's been, 27 years is a long, long time that I get back to the finals in any sport for any team. So everyone's enjoying this, and it's been a great couple weeks up here.
So you cover this team every night. When did it click for you that this Knicks group was different, and that that 1999 was actually back on the table?
Yeah, right at the end of the regular season, I thought they were playing pretty well, and they were speaking with a confidence. Sometimes, you can hear guys talking. They have a confidence about them, and they needed to win some games to stay out of the 4th seed, and they did that. They finished ahead of Cleveland, so they were playing well. And then even those first couple games in Atlanta, when they fell behind 2-1, they should have won one of the games. They kind of knew that loss was on them, and they just sort of put it together right then and there, and haven't looked back at all.
How about the Cleveland game when they were down by 92 points or whatever it was? I mean, how about the place went nuts? And Brian, I don't think I've ever. I mean, phenomenal comeback, but I mean, it just kind of like that would seem to be the turning point for that series.
Yeah, and it's funny hearing Cleveland talk about that. They just didn't get over it. Teams blow leads all the time. Everyone talks about how every team's going to make a run at some point. But Cleveland just didn't. And they knew, look, the Knicks were not going to play well that night. They've been off for a long time. Cleveland was in a rhythm. Everything was going the way Cleveland would have wanted to work out. And then in 7 minutes, they blow the game. And then they knew the Knicks were not going to play that bad again, I think. The Knicks knew they weren't going to play that bad. And yeah, it was just an ambush from there.
I know Mr. Dolan wanted to make the change. He made the change last year. So a Mike Brown-led team versus a Tim Thibodeau-led team. What has been the difference, and is it the difference tangible or is it intangible?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think more of it is intangible, but, we have seen a couple times Thibodeau kept a much smaller rotation, and if you were out of it, it was hard to get back in unless someone got hurt, it seems like. Mike Brown is sort of there's been guys, Jordan Clarkson, and particularly now you've seen Landry Shamet, who even when the playoffs started wasn't in the rotation very much. And all of a sudden now was one of their key players in the conference final. So, Mike goes back to guys, and he, talks more to the players and his staff, I think, about making changes. They changed up their offense sort of entirely after the first couple games against Atlanta and started moving the ball more to Karl-Anthony Towns instead of Jalen Brunson. And, I don't know how much that would have happened last year. I think Tom believed in his way a little bit more. Mike seems a little more up to change things around.
Associated Press, Brian Mahoney, joining Roc Manuch here on ESPN Radio Phoenix. New York gets a week plus of rest before the finals. In your experience covering this league, is this layup a gift or maybe a rust trap?
Well, I think they obviously don't want to be off this long. I think it's a little too much of a rust trap.
Yeah.
But they just did go through it, so they sort of maybe they feel like hearing them talk now, maybe they need to scrimmage a little bit more in between, be in the gym a little more. There's no way to prepare, and certainly they benefited too when there was not much rest for Cleveland. Whoever wins this series out west, it's going to have 3 days off, so it's not like they're going to be taxed. They're going to get themselves back. I think you'd rather, from the rest standpoint, be the West team going into this.
For the Knicks fans, who are they rooting for tomorrow? Who would they like to see, Spurs or of course Thunder?
I would imagine a little bit more Spurs.
Okay.
They beat them this year for the NBA Cup. They didn't beat the Thunder, so the matchup maybe is a little bit there, but it's hard to say. San Antonio is a much different team than back then. Those guards have really improved, and Oklahoma City doesn't look like this killer team that they have earlier in the year right now. They look beatable a little bit, so. I don't think it makes a ton of difference, but if I had to lean one way or the other, I think they'd probably slightly face San Antonio.
Brian, you look at last year, coaching change, but, they lose in the finals, that being the Knicks. What were the lessons learned that they want to make sure they don't go down that path this year as they won those finals?
Well, I think they sort of learned about the value of home court last year. The East Finals, they lost to Indiana game 1 and 2 at home. You can recover earlier in playoff rounds against worse teams, but you're not going to find a way to beat these good teams on the road. So you have to hang on to your home games, and they have to be sort of staying engaged. The whole bench last year against Indiana, they desperately tried to make a lineup change, and it was sort of too little, too late. This time they know the guys who have not necessarily been in the lineup might come back and have a chance to influence the game, and I think more guys have stayed ready for when the chance does come along.
And has that been a big part of Jalen Brunson's growth to basically he feels it, he's the leader out there, he knows he's the leader and somewhat set the table for this team?
Yeah, he's a great leader, absolutely. And, he doesn't act like a superstar in a lot of ways. When they wanted to change up the offense a little bit and they sort of have him handling the ball a little bit less, he was like, okay, let's do it. And which is, maybe a lot of guys don't do that, but, he's still getting his points. He's still leading that game 1 comeback. That was entirely him bringing them back from that game. So he knows he's still going to be the guy who's going to have to come through when it matters, but he certainly doesn't act like the other guys can't do it. He believes in his team, and that's what I guess a good leader does.
And pardon the pun here, Brian, but for our long-lost son, i.e. one Mikal Bridges, these games seem to have gone to another level as well. To more consistency out of Bridges, you feel, this year?
Well, since that third game in the playoffs against Atlanta when he was scoreless and people were wondering if they should bench him, he's been unbelievable. I think the offensive changes helped him. The ball is not in Jalen Brunson's hands quite as much. There's a chance for moving and cutting. They're finding him in open spots, and he's hitting the shot. It's just unbelievable how well he has played in the last, really, this whole 11-game winning streak. He's probably been maybe their second or third best player.
Brian, my last one. This is a little bit tough, but when it comes to what you've been doing for so many years, you're there in New York, you're a Knicks fan, I'm assuming. The Knicks are holding that Larry O'Brien trophy in 3 weeks. Have you already written your headline? Do you have your headline in your head, or do you think about that? You have a nice cold beer, like, all right, I know what I'm gonna write. I mean, do you do that, or am I a little out there with that question?
Well, you're on the right track, but it's too little too late now. We already used it a couple days ago, but when they just got here, we used the the print party like it's 1999. So it's too late now. We already too. But no, we do have a lot of time to repair. That's for sure. 27. That's one in my lifetime. So you would think we should be able to come with something good by now. Everything is still left.
I love it.
But it'd be fun to see what happens. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And Brian, after it's all said and done, if they do win this whole thing and take it, what will be some of the key points of this season that would lead you to believe that this team, when you look back on it, would win it all?
Well, I think going through the NBA Cup run was important. A lot of teams don't really care about that as much. The Knicks looked at it as a chance to sort of prove themselves with a new coach. I think that was important. I think sort of playing through the finish line a little bit at the end and going for that third seed, things opened up for them there. Then Boston loses. They get home court in the next round. Then Detroit, who they had really gotten killed all three times they played them, loses. They didn't have to play them. They would have got them in the conference finals. So I think it showed the value of their regular season a little bit. And, they've everything they've done here has sort of worked out the way they would have wanted it to in the last, month and a half or so.
Brian, thank you, buddy. Enjoy the ride, man. That's awesome. You've earned that right to have that in your backyard. So it should be a lot of fun. Hope we catch up with you during the series.
Sounds good. Thanks very much.
You got it. I appreciate it. Brian Mahoney joining Associated Press. You can follow him on X at Brian C. Mahoney. Of course, you read those stories all over the country. Associated Press, AP. He's one of them. He's been doing that a long time, and he's been covering Knicks and the NBA for 20-plus years.
Many years.
Yeah, many years. All right, perfect game, 529-foot bomb, and much more. We're going to get into that. I'll tell you what that's all about next. It's Roc and Manuch, give to be from Wright Toyota.
Need to feed a crowd? Let Venencia's bring the flavor to your next event. We know you have a lot of options when feeding a large group. Ordering directly from Venencia's means you get the best service and the absolute best pricing. There's no per-person fee. Just tell us how many people you need to feed, and we'll come up with a perfect plan to ensure everyone's well-fed and happy. Grad party, office celebration, family reunion. Invite Venencia's to the table. Text catering to 411-24/7. That's catering to 411-247 or Venencias.com.
Arizona's headquarters for Toyotas is Wright Toyota. Hey, Rock, for my friends at Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. You will always find the right deal at Wright Toyota. Wright Toyota has been driving Arizona's home for years with their amazing service, pricing, and great selection. I encourage you to discover the difference at Wright Toyota. Make the right choice, Wright Toyota, just off the 101 on Franklin Wright Boulevard, and always online at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Check out WrightToyota.com.
You're invited to Vans Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf to get custom fit for the all-new Titleist GTS drivers. Find the perfect driver for your swing, helping you gain superior distance, accuracy, and speed by personalizing your performance. Be the first to have the new Titleist GTS drivers by booking your fitting in-store or online at worldwidegolf.com. Trusted by golfers since 1963 and home to the legendary 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee. Vans Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Get there.
Now open in North Scottsdale. It's the Orangedale Lounge. ODs, right off Thompson Peak and Bell, next to Bash's. Your new favorite dive bar has arrived. Cold drafts, chill vibes, always affordable prices, and the OD Mug Club, a one-of-a-kind membership you won't find anywhere else. No frills, just great people, ice-cold drinks, and a bar that feels like it's always been there. Follow at OD Scottsdale and get the scoop at orangedalelounge.com. Orangedale Lounge. Dive in and drink up.
Driving high can get you a DUI. Instead of getting behind the wheel, designate a sober driver or rideshare. In Arizona, drug-impaired driving is illegal, even if the drug is legal. So drive sober or not at all. In Arizona, there's zero tolerance for impaired driving, since drugs slow your reaction time and cloud your judgment. If you feel different, you drive different. Visit drivesober.az.gov to learn more. This message is sponsored by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
Screen time's over.
Be home by 11?
Put your phone down while we're eating.
When parents set boundaries, keep track of where their kids go, and talk to them about the dangers of underage drinking and drugs, they keep their kids safe. Visit TalkNowAZ.com. Be the influence. Talk early. Talk often. Talk now.
Thanks. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
This message is sponsored by Substance Awareness Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B want to take you back. A quick reflection on some of the more memorable moments in sports and pop culture. Now, time for your Right Toyota on this day report. Right Toyota, right on the corner, right on the price. Right Toyota in Scottsdale.
That's right, Scottsdale and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. That's where we are. Get some certified pre-owns under $15,000. Everything's online at righttoyota.com. Well, we're talking about Game 7s tomorrow, but if you go back just a few years actually, 2023, the 8th-seeded Miami Heat hammered the Celtics 103-84 in Game 7 of the East Finals. The first play-in team ever to reach the NBA Finals. Pretty cool stuff.
That's amazing. Amazing that the plane started that many years ago.
Yeah. 2010, Roy Halladay threw the 20th perfect game in Major League Baseball history. Took care of the Marlins 1-0. Playing for the Phillies. And Ricky Henderson, 1990, stole base 893, passing Ty Cobb on the all-time list, and he would just continue to steal bases.
You know, he gets on first. It's basically a run. You know, he'll still second, he'll still third, and they really could never stop him.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just think of Ricky, just the power he had, the speed he had, the arm. You know, one of those guys that's truly missed in Major League Baseball.
Typically, when I do this on this day report every day, I just pull like 2 or 3.
Right.
But I got like 10 today.
Throw them out there.
Because they're all really, really good.
Good.
My favorite player of all time retired. I cried. I remember back in 1989.
Mike
Schmidt retired.
Schmitty.
Yes. Still hate you Philly fans that booed him. He didn't deserve to be booed.
No.
I have a shrine. You know, you haven't seen it, Manuch, but I have it. When I moved, I redid my office, and I have it's embarrassing to say.
A Schmidt shrine?
It's a complete Mike Schmidt shrine. I mean, I got a jersey signed by him. I got baseball signed by him. You know, he went to Ohio University where I went. My all-time, always, you know, my dog's name was Schmitty. I mean, it's just big Schmidt fan.
We had him on the show one time.
One time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were giddy like me when we had Joe Namath on. I was giddy.
Yeah.
You're
exactly.
giddy after.
Yeah.
I
remember exactly. We were at some beer place, and I was like, all right, I don't even want to talk to Joe Namath. You didn't let me have one. I think I had one. I think I got to introduce him. Hey, now joining us on Roc and Manuch, Joe Namath, you know.
Remember
and then I just put my headset down. And you were just, I wish we were at a bar. I could say what I really want to say, but you just were so excited.
I did the same thing when you had Mike Schmidt on. I kind of let you.
And Harry Cowles.
Harry Cowles.
That was the best. Also, as I continue, because there's 3 more that I have to mention, because this one's pretty big. 1980, Larry Bird won the NBA Rookie of the Year, edging out Magic Johnson.
Yes.
I mean, imagine if social media was around then on how that would have just blown up to argue. I mean, you remember the cover of SI, there's 2 guys. That was awesome.
It was interesting.
Larry Brown, Magic Johnson.
Oh, it was just Larry Bird.
Larry Johnson. Larry Bird.
It's 79 with the, you had Michigan State beat Indiana State. And then the following year you saw, their rookie year. So that rookie year, Magic leads the charge over your Philadelphia 76ers. And they win that game since Jabbar hurt his ankle, so he led that charge. So Magic had a hell of a year, and yet Bird had a hell of a year. Those 2 rookies, they were both, ever since that national championship game, Michigan State, Indiana State, ever since then they were joined at the hip. And to see that Bird win that award, and then basically Magic win the title versus your 76ers that year. What a summer that was.
2 more. 76, Joe and Phil Niekro started a game against each other, the brothers. Joe hit the only home run of his career off his brother, Phil. That's a note you can take to the bar at happy hour today. How about that?
And I think were they both throwing knuckleballs even then?
I don't know if Joe. I know Phil did.
Phil eventually started throwing the knuckleball, which elongated his career like another 10 years.
Yeah.
But, never forget that one.
All right, last one, 1965. And I don't know if this is still the case, but Dick Allen launched a 529-foot home run off the Cubs. Still one of the longest in Major League Baseball history. 529.
His bat was like, I don't know, it was like 35 inches long, 40. The ounces were 40. Like it's one of the largest bats ever. But when you watch Dick Allen and his stroke, I mean, he hit some bombs in that era. And the other thing I remember about Dick Allen, you probably remember this, Roc, is that he'd be at first base and he'd be drawing stuff in the sand to kind of kill the time. Guys like kick the dirt or whatever.
Yeah.
And he would mention some stuff. There was something I think when Bowie Kuhn was a commissioner. He took a little shot at Bowie, then he erased it for the next inning. So Dick Allen was one of those very bright individuals that a little outspoken back in the day.
All right, let's get to football at 50, and we'll start with the Cardinals as their quarterback room continues to be a mess. Jacoby Brissett not present for the start of the OTAs as he wants a pay raise on his $4.88 million contract. Just 1.5 when it comes to the guaranteed for this upcoming season. And he's still being paid like a backup despite, organizations saying he's going to be a starter. So he's asking for starter money. And, of course, we know the Cardinals went on to draft Carson Beck. And then they signed Gardner Minshew. So that stuff. And you still hear the noise with Aaron Rodgers to Arizona. I don't understand why that is still a noise.
I don't either. I don't get it. I mean, he's committed to
will die.
What did he sign for? $15 million?
Yeah, Cardinals aren't going to pay him that.
I mean, the Cardinals aren't going to bring him in here.
Still dealing with Kyler.
Exactly right. By the way, you bring up that $1.5 million guarantee that the Jacobys get. That's the salary for Kyler Murray. People go, oh wait, wait. He's getting the other $40 million from the Arizona Cardinals.
He's doing okay.
He's doing okay.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes participated just 2 days ago in the OTAs for Kansas City. Another sign that he's on track for the season opener. A little over 5 months removed from the ACL and the LCL surgery they had in mid-December. He's doing all the individual drills. He's doing the 7-on-7s, and he's talking about being out there. So we'll see. Week 1, how cool would that be?
That would be something. I mean, talk about a guy that heals quickly. They just said that they have to be real careful with the lateral movements with him. I was watching the highlights from yesterday. He'd go up, back, he'd drop back. He's been like maybe third gear from a quarterback's perspective as far as movement, but he's still throwing the ball very, very well. That would be amazing to come back by that second week of September and starting for the Chiefs. Now, the other side is who's he going to throw to besides Travis Kelce? Who's slowing down? Who are the other home run hitters on that team? And that's been the big concern this offseason for the Kansas City Chiefs.
The hot national trade story, multiple insiders have the Eagles and A.J. Brown heading for a split. And I'm fine with it as an Eagles fan, with the Patriots floated as the landing spot. So Patriots are no one, at least some people are saying. So let that play out June 1st. We'll know.
Yeah, I think a lot's going to happen June 1st.
Yeah,
there's
so
much going on. And the other guy, too, is Ayuk. He's the great mystery for the San Francisco 49ers or the National Football.
All right, college, the ACC, the Big 12, and Notre Dame have all joined the Big 10 in backing a 24-team playoff. And at this past week's SEC spring meetings, commissioner of the SEC said the league won't take a firm stance and that he prefers a 16-team field over 24. He even called the meetings overhyped and said flatly that he doesn't anticipate any decision on a playoff this week. And the kicker, I think, for the fans are, leaders have until December 1st to decide between 24, 16, or staying 12 for the 2027 season. So we'll have to see. Stanky, of course, Greg Stanky is the commissioner. He's arguing that a 24-team field means one or two regular season games would stop mattering. They wouldn't matter.
That's nuts. Greg Stanky's just trying to get his own way.
Yeah.
He just wants.
Well, it's the SEC.
Well, yeah, and he says that despite losing the national championship, 3 years in a row, that's still a better conference. Yep. Yeah, the Big 12's like, yeah, whatever.
Well, here's the thing. You got to follow the money because ESPN is pulling the strings here, right?
Yeah.
So underneath all this conference posturing, the real driver is ESPN. They own the CFP rights. They own the SEC rights. And they have strongly against going to 16 or above. And I don't know why, because there's more games they would have.
Sure.
That's a huge share of the most watched games over the last couple seasons on ABC and ESPN have been, of course, college football.
So do you think that it's a matter of how much more they have to divvy up the pot for the extra 24 games? I think you get more money, obviously.
Well, maybe.
I don't understand why they'd be hesitant to do that.
Maybe because they're going to have to spend more money to get those additional games.
I think, Rock, 16 is more than enough. Fine with it. I'm fine with 16. 24 is a bit much.
We're going to catch up with Steve Peters from ESPN, talk some puck with him. So we'll get into it with him. Also, Scott Spreitzer, he will handicap the NHL playoffs and Game 7 of the NBA. So we got a lot of that going on. A little bit later, got a new segment called Money Line, and it's going to be about the business side of sports. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, really cool stuff. The Rockets owner just bought Caesars for $17.6 billion. How about that? And the WNBA gals are getting these commission checks. I'll tell you what that's all about, too. So that's all coming up. We got a lot to get into. As hour number 2 is coming up from Wright Toyota. Mr. Softy is here. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B here on ESPN Radio Phoenix.
We're living through a monetary crime scene, and your IRA or 401k is a key victim. Hi, Dr. Ron Paul here. In 1971, gold was $35 an ounce. After the dollar was cut loose from it, inflation soared. And in just 9 years, gold hit $850. People who diversified into precious metals survive and thrive. Today, we're in a worse position because we face inflation and massive debt. Fortunately, gold is still an option. My trusted friends at Birch Gold Group can help you own gold inside your retirement account. Plus, you pay 0 penalties on the transfer. Start now by getting a free info kit on gold. Text the word SECURE to 989898. We're facing the same monetary chaos as the 70s with significantly more debt. Get your free info kit from Birch Gold. Just text SECURE to the number 989898.
In baseball, every decision matters. One pitch can change the game. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And like a good manager, building a strong financial plan takes strategy and the right team.
Torey Lavello here. Jeff's right. In baseball, you can't just watch one part of the field. You have to see the whole game.
And that's how we think about financial planning. Most advisors just manage investments and refer you somewhere else for taxes or estate planning.
But the best teams work together.
Exactly. At Trajan Wealth, we built a family office model that brings everything together. Wealth, tax, estate, one team, making sure every part of your plan plays well together.
That's why I trust Trajan Wealth. With my family's plan, they see the whole field.
Call Trajan today, 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Paid advertisement. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Join the team at All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing company and leader in roadside service. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service pros ready to grow with us. You'll enjoy state-of-the-art equipment, consistent schedules, full health benefits, a strong 401k match, employer life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Take your career to the next level. Apply today at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is always moving forward.
Social connection keeps your brain strong. So does a challenge. When you stay socially and mentally active, your mind stays engaged, and you might even lower your risk of dementia. Learn something new, pick up a hobby, or catch up with a friend. Up to 40% of dementia cases could be prevented or delayed by addressing risk factors like loneliness and inactivity of the mind. Explore alz.org/healthy habits for more tips. This message is sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association and the Arizona Department of Health Services.
KTAR AM Phoenix, Arizona's home for the worldwide leader in sports, is ESPN 620. It's Friday. Advertising live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the price. Wright Toyota, located at 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
Svestikov, cross ice, Jarvis. Back out, shot by Svestikov. Score! The Carolina Hurricanes take game 3.
Oh, it's getting good. Hockey. Wish we had it here. Joining us now is our NHL insider, former Coyotes assistant coach, now with ESPN, and joins us on the Right to It Again side. Coach Pete, what's up, my friend? How are you?
Things are good. Just getting ready for this Stanley Cup final to get started here over the next few days. So things are good. It's warm outside, and we're still watching hockey.
Gotta love it. All right, so Vegas sweeps the Avalanche. Was that the most surprising series result you've seen in the playoffs in a long time? Did you expect to see something like that, a sweep?
Absolute shock. This Colorado Avalanche team has dominated the entire regular season. They were the President's Trophy winner. They looked great in defeating the Minnesota Wild in the second round, and they looked like they were unstoppable. And then came along Vegas. Like, Vegas struggled to get through Utah, and they had a tough series against Anaheim. And you thought, okay, they're really going to run into a brick wall against Colorado. And it was just the opposite. They played their best hockey of the playoffs against Colorado, and they were dominant.
All right, so the Knights won fewer than 40 games in the regular season. You know, I think that's first team since like 2002. It's been a long time. How did this team flip a switch like this?
You know, it's hard. You look at this team as got a lot of veteran players that have won a cup before. You look at Stone, you look at Eichel, and they've got guys in their room that have been there before. The problem, it looked like, is those guys were the guys that were not excelling. Their coach, Bruce Cassidy, tough guy. Like, it's tough. It's a tough guy. That he's a black and white, no nonsense coach, and it's tough to play for. And I think it affected those veteran players the most. And then the big switch with Tortorella with under 10 games to go, just flipped the switch. And you know what he did? He just let the guys play. And he said, hey, you guys go do this. I trust you. Go have fun. And the veteran players were their best players. And it really was that coaching change that made the difference. I don't think they are where they are preparing for the Stanley Cup final if they don't make the change to Tortorella.
You know, Steve, interesting. Yeah. If they win it all, beat Vegas, it's somewhat similar to the St. Louis Blues. What was that, 5 years ago? The coaching change at the halfway point. Just the discipline, the let it rip type of thing. Can you say that about Tortorella, even though he took over 10 games ago? Similar situation?
Different. I think the perception of John Tortorella is he is that gruff, difficult coach, but he's not. He's that way to the media. He's difficult with the media, and he's hard on the media. But he's not that way with his players. Like, he's a really good, understanding guy as long as you play the right way, which means you try, you give effort, and you put it all out on the ice. If you play that way, he loves you. And I think he has been the biggest cheerleader of this team through the first the first 3 rounds. And I think that's really helped these guys. They're doing it all together. He is their leader, but they're doing it as a group, us against the world mentality.
Steve, such a young organization, but yet here they are going to another Stanley Cup. Is it the ownership, the right guys as general managers, combination of all the above? What is it to see such success in the infancy of an organization?
There's a couple of things. First and foremost, it's the owner that wants to win. It's not an owner that wants to have a real estate deal or build a mall. It's an owner that wants to win the sport that he owns the team in, which is rare. We see so many guys just trying to make money, get the best arena deal. He is the key to this all happening. However, they did get a really good jump start when they went through the expansion draft. The rules changed since Vegas went through their expansion draft and were able to create an unbelievable team right out of the gate. You didn't see that in Seattle. Seattle didn't have the same advantages that Vegas did, but they don't get to where they are without an owner willing to spend money, a general manager that's willing to be cutthroat and leave players in the dust and coaches in the dust, and all they worry about is winning, and that's why they are where they are.
All right, let's talk about Carolina, Montreal. Carolina up 3-1. Do the Canes close it out tonight, or does Montreal drag this thing back to Canada?
Yeah, I think this is over tonight. I think the Carolina Hurricanes are finally putting the Montreal Canadiens in the rearview mirror. They were much better in game 4. It was 4-0. I think Montreal's running out of gas. They've been on fumes the last few games. They've been doing it by great goaltending. They've had under 20 shots the last 3 games in this series. They just can't find offense. I think Carolina is going to smother them tonight, and I would think that this series ends in Carolina.
It's interesting to bring that up. The 3 goals in that first period, it was obvious they were going to pepper the net. I mean, you talked about, you see them 43 shots on goal versus the 18. It was plain obvious that they were going to come out guns a-blazing that very first period.
Yeah, that's their style, though. Carolina's relentless. They play like their coach Rod Brindamore played. Their feet are always moving. They double up on pucks. They're aggressive all over the ice, and they give you no room to breathe, and it's very frustrating to play against that. And Montreal is a young team that plays with speed, tries to get the puck up the ice quick, and when all of those lanes shut down, there's nowhere for them to go, and they can't generate. So Carolina to me is playing their best hockey. They're a team that has only lost 1 game in the playoffs. They're not battling hard injuries like we saw in Colorado. So this is a team that, just like Vegas, is continuing to get better as these playoffs continue.
As a former Coyotes guy, you're watching playoff hockey thrive, and it's thriving in non-traditional markets like Vegas and Carolina. What does it tell you about where this game is going and growing?
Yeah, I believe hockey belongs in non-traditional markets. Clearly, you see with the success you're having for anywhere from Dallas, LA's won cups, Anaheim's won cups. I believe it works in non-traditional markets. I think what you've seen with the boost of the Olympics this year is you're getting a lot more eyes on hockey this season. I think you look at the ratings between TNT and ESPN, they're both setting records because more people are finding this sport. I think that bodes well for Arizona. I still believe, I said this last time I was on, I believe things are happening in Arizona. I think there are positive things moving forward, and I still believe hockey can succeed in the southern states. It's been proven, and I don't see why it can't succeed here.
And aside from that, Steve, here Carolina again, Las Vegas again, aside from ownership, what are some of the common denominators with both these franchises that are there, at least in the thick of it, year in, year out?
Well, we talked about ownership. They both have an ownership group that's committed to winning, and they've been, hey, let's face it, they've been lucky at acquiring the players they've been able to acquire. The Vegas Golden Knights continually add players. They've always kind of skirted around the salary cap. They don't cheat because they're within the rules, but they always find a way to bend them. And their biggest acquisition this year was Mitch Marner. And they are such an attractive market because of their ownership group, their facilities, and their desire to win that they can attract those free agents. It's different in Carolina. Carolina doesn't have that market where you pull in the free agents. They just have a coach that has everybody committed to playing a specific style, and they play it better than any team in the National Hockey League at playing to an identity. When you watch Carolina play, that's how Carolina plays. And I think for them, as opposed to the star players, they do it as a group. This is how we play. We play hard, and we do it all together. Vegas is carried by their superstars, and they have them with Eichel and Marner and Stone.
Steve Peters joining us here on ESPN Radio Phoenix. When commissioners and fans and media always talk about, finals in certain markets, do you think the NHL is kind of just bummed that if Carolina wins, they're not getting Montreal, and that the whole country of Canada could, maybe get a taste of a Stanley Cup? It's been since '93. Does that play into this anyway, the way that you look at this?
Outwardly, that they're behind closed doors. These guys are saying who they want to play. And I've been in meetings with national broadcasters, and yes, they all want the New York Rangers. You want the Pittsburgh Penguins. You want Sidney Crosby, Ovechkin in these games. Absolutely, it gets more national attention. I think the last few years we've been spoiled with the Canadian team in the finals, which brings more North American attention. And I'd be lying if I would say that yes, the bigger markets like LA and even the Colorado Avalanche would have attracted more viewership than the Carolina Hurricanes. True.
Vegas,
Florida, Tampa, Vegas. This is a series that hockey fans are going to enjoy, but I'm concerned that it's not going to pull in that casual fan, and that's too bad because it is going to be pretty good hockey.
And my last one for you, the passing of Claude Lemieux yesterday. Just want to get your thoughts on the passing of Claude. What a great guy. We had him on all the time. Very gregarious, very outgoing. And I called him the Danny Ainge of the National Hockey League when he was playing there, Steve.
Wow, that's a high praise. When he was here, anybody who's ever played against Claude Lemieux does not like him. It's his competitive nature. He will do absolutely anything, and I mean anything, to win. He's incredibly competitive, but more so, you're right, that personality, that gregarious, that confidence that he displayed. And I passed him many times in the last decade in Arizona. We'd see at the rinks, and just gracious and friendly, and he's so outgoing. And I'm completely stunned, but it just proves you don't know what's going on the other side of the phone, on the other side of the room. And it's so sad. And we need to come together as a sports community and just take care of everybody. And I said this earlier today. I challenge everybody listening right now, when this interview is over or when you finally make it home from your drive, pick up the phone and call somebody, somebody in your family, a friend of yours you haven't talked to in a long time. Ask how they're doing and mean it and listen, because you don't know what people are going through. And this is so sad that to someone that appeared to have it all, literally didn't feel that way on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, he was just out there
Monday, lighting the torch in Montreal.
It's just nuts, and we're hearing about this stuff so much more these days, and it's just sad that you're so right.
Well said, Steve.
So right. Appreciate you, Coach. As always, buddy. Enjoy it, and we're not letting you go, so we'll get you all next week too. So appreciate the time, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see you next week from the road. Not sure where I'm booking my flights to yet, but I will see you next week from somewhere.
Oh, you son of a... Oh, man. Well, definitely Vegas will be one.
Somebody's got to do it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you. Thanks, man. That's Peter's Hockey. You want to follow him? Coach Pete does a tremendous job, so we appreciate his time. And, I feel like he's always, educating people in hockey. People, and it sucks that there's sports out there that they have to do that. I think soccer guys do that, and then hockey guys do that.
Yes.
They're always have to sell their sport. You don't have to sell NFL football or college football or NBA or of course,
Isn't it interesting, though? He thinks sooner rather than later with the team here in Phoenix. I would certainly hope so.
Well, we had him on when you were gone getting that nose job, and we talked to him about that.
It took a long time.
And he said, with Shane Doan being exiting out of Toronto, even though his name has been rumored for some other GM jobs, that Shane Doan and his wife and team are really trying to put this together, and that he feels that we're up there. I think Houston is a big one out there too. So we'll have to wait and see and keep our fingers crossed. But I would love to just, I don't care when, but just to have that buzz in our community that we got NHL hockey back. Oh. I was talking to a guy yesterday over at he works out at the Mullet Arena, and he was telling me he's in charge of the ice, and just saying the place was hopping, and even with the Coyotes there, and then the success of ASU hockey, there's so many hockey fans here, so many, and it's just a shame that it's only college now.
And we'll never forget those Western Conference Finals against the LA Kings back in 2010 and 2011. That was a lot of fun.
All right, we're going to get into some Cardinal talk next, and then we'll get into Scott Spreitzer, who will handicap the Spurs and Thunder, as well as tonight's hockey game. It's Roc Manuch, Jimmy B from Wright Toyota here on ESPN Radio. Rock for WrightToyota.com. At Wright Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all their innovative web tools on WrightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at WrightToyota.com.
I was in a wreck. I need a check. I was in a wreck. I need a check. I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Kevin Rowe from Lerner Rowe, and we've been serving Arizonans for 20 years. Make the best choice after an accident. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
When it comes to your roof, you don't want to mess around. And Arizona homeowners and business owners have known that for over a decade. State 48 Roofing is Arizona's #1 referred roofer. Residential, commercial, they do it all. And they've been doing it right here in the Valley for over 10 years. Protect your home, protect your business. And hey, keep your roof sexy with State 48 Roofing. Visit state48roofing.com or call 480-268-4509. State 48 Roofing, Arizona's most trusted roof.
When it's game time in the Valley, you know what time it is. It's Twin Peaks time. Head to Twin Peaks with 5 Valley locations and massive screens everywhere you look. From basketball, baseball to hockey, fights, and more, there's no better place to catch every play and all the action. Bud Light is a proud partner of sports fans everywhere. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
Pima JTED doesn't just work for students, it works for all of Arizona. Hands-on training, real-world skills, high school students become job-ready, and Arizona businesses get the talent they need to thrive. Without a skilled workforce, Arizona can't grow. But with Pima JTED graduates, our entire economy prospers. Join the businesses already investing in Arizona's future. Learn more at PimaJTED.org. That's PimaJTED.org. This message is sponsored by Potoff Private Philanthropy.
Cats are masters at using up their 9 lives, like chasing laser pointers into walls or jumping onto high shelves. But the one thing cats never do, text while driving. So be like a cat and protect your one and only life. Don't text and drive.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
You my little boo thing, so I'll give a hoot what you do. Say, girl, I know you a little too tight. I'll be shooting that shot like 2K, girl, I know. Tell 'em I'm there. Tell 'em you follow something.
It's Friday, and the guys are live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the price. Wright Toyota, located at 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
All right, Scott Spreitzer will join us in about 10 minutes. Of course, from DocSports.com, been joining us for almost 20 years now. But the current Arizona Cardinals OTA picture. And, of course, the big one is, since moving on from Kyler Murray, Jacoby Brissett is in line to be QB1, but he remains away from the team because he is holding out for some more cash, because if he's going to be a starter, he wants to get paid like a starter. And ESPN has been reporting that the two sides are significantly apart, and there's not much leverage here, as the Cardinals have informed him, which is probably their mistake, that he is their quarterback, their starting quarterback. And with that, his guys, his agents are probably saying, all right, then we want a salary that matches that role. And Arizona's got the money. They have $31 million, over $31 million in cap space. So is it a risk? You know, I mean, he's not there. He's not getting any snaps. If they were paying him, he would get every snap, or at least most of the snaps. But now it's going to fall behind Minshew. It's going to fall behind Beck. And here we are, a new offense with LaFleur. It's being installed, and your starting quarterback's not there. WTF. Plain and simple.
I second the motion there, Rock.
Thank you.
It's interesting because you sit there and you think, okay, Gardner's there, Beck, they're getting all the reps. Carson Beck, he's loving this.
Yeah, and rumor has it Manuch, he's turning heads.
Well, he can throw the ball. He's a big kid, 6'4", 220. Throws the ball really, really well. Had a lot of reps, 40-some games in college football. Gardner Minshew, everybody throws it well. It's pretty much a passing camp, if you will. And you know, interesting. So you look at the speaking of Miami.
I mean, whenever so we're out here, right, Toyota, and one of their finance guys is just the biggest Miami fan in the world.
Yeah.
So his office is kind of near our set. I mean, when I went to the national championship, I brought him a sweatshirt. Didn't even say thank you for the sweatshirt. Didn't even say thank you. $150 sweatshirt, you know? And all I wanted was my car to get washed here, right, Toyota. He hasn't thrown me a free car wash yet.
He's such a fan. I don't see any Carson Beck photos in his office either. I mean, such a fan.
I mean, so here we are. We mentioned Carson Beck. The guy comes running out of his office. Gee.
He's been asleep in there for the last 2 hours.
I know. It's like, sell something. Come on.
Yeah, but then one thing, you look at the average for starting quarterbacks in the NFL, not that he's going to get it. The average is $35 to $50 million. Second tiers, 20 to 25. So that's where it falls. I got to imagine if you do a prognostication of what he's looking for, he's probably looking for anywhere from 15 to $20 million. What it sounds like, from my standpoint, the Cardinals aren't going to come any close to 15 to $25 million.
Yeah.
But if he gets somewhere, say he gets $10 to $12 million this year, what he wants, Rock, is a 2-year extension. This is the last year of his contract. He wants a 2-year extension. The other case, he wants more guaranteed money.
Sure.
He's only going to make $1.5 million guaranteed, plus the $6 million on top of that. So 6.5 plus $1.5 million. He's probably looking, I'm going to say between 12 and 15, and the Cardinals are having heartburn with that. But to your point, they have money. If he's your guy, pay the guy.
But is he?
Well,
I mean, Gardner Minshew has started a bunch of games.
Yeah.
We know Carson Beck is going to be the future. At least we think he is, or at least for Cardinal fans, you hope he is.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to play. Guys, I'm going to pull up the Buda Baker, play the clip on what Minshew brings to the locker room. Now, here's the guy that leads the locker room in Buda Baker, already anointing Minshew.
Oh, man, he's a great guy. Great guy. He's one of those. I mean, every time I see him, he reminds me of just like a California, surfer, long hair, hang loose all the time. But he's been great. He's took command of the offense, and they're doing a great job. And, glad to have him here.
He's a bright guy. He really is.
Not a bad quarterback.
I
like it because he creates an identity.
Yes.
And I would much rather see him as a quarterback. I don't think the team's going to win more games or lose more games depending on who's the quarterback.
I would agree with that, Rock.
Right now, right?
I would agree with that.
Gardner Minshew will sell more tickets. Clearly, sell more tickets than Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah. And he's got a little more flair to his game as well too. And I think those are something he's more mobile than Jacoby Brissett. He's one of those guys that can get out on the perimeter, throw on the run. And the other thing he talked about is his Winnebago, the famous Winnebago that he had.
It's badass.
Yeah, he drives up and says, "Hey, look, I can pull up,
sleeps in that thing.
I can sleep in it, save some money." I mean, guys can deal with a guy that's grounded like that. So here's this kid out of Washington State who Coach Leach loved Gardner Minshew.
Mm-hmm.
That is, looks like he could be leading the charge.
All right, so here is, we'll continue with Baker. And he had some comments about Jacoby Brissett as well as Josh Sweat for not being at OTAs.
Yeah, of course. I understand it. It's OTAs. It's, we don't have to be here. They got their situations that they got going on, and when they come into the building, it's welcoming them in with open arms and just understanding that the NFL is a business, So no love lost. Love those guys. When they get in the building, they'll be in the building, and just keeping the main thing.
Boy, he skirted that one, didn't he? He's like, well, it's a business, and they got to go take care of their business and get it. Because Buda Baker went through that last year. They didn't extend his contract, but it gave him more money, as we all remember. But I think he understands that having both those guys in the locker room, if they are in the locker room, is a benefactor, especially Josh Sweat. And I got to imagine that Buda Baker's got to hope that Josh Sweat doesn't get traded, that he's part of this team, because that'll help him at strong safety. And with Jacoby Brissett, they all like Brissett. They saw how productive he can be, even though he's just got the one win, And I think those are some of the things that Buda basically said a whole lot of nothing there because, hey, it's a business. Guys are trying to get as much as they can while they can. But it's always nice to have those guys in the locker room.
All right. Also, we'll hear from the coach. And staying with the quarterback theme, here's LaFleur talking about what he's seen so far from Carson Beck.
Yeah, it's in that same vein. I do think the game makes sense to Carson. I think he's done an awesome job. I think Matt Schaub and Nathaniel Hackett have done an incredible job with him in terms of just teaching him the foundations of the West Coast system, whatever that means. But really that means just decision-making, timing, and then accuracy with it. But, I mean, that's kind of a prerequisite level that you got to have, when you end up coming in. But, understanding what our reads are, understanding what the timing and the footwork is and how it's all, kind of tied together. that makes sense to Carson. And again, I give a lot of credit to those guys, but you know, like I said, I think all three of those guys have done a great job, and Carson's putting in the time to understand what we're asking from him.
Learn the playbook, learn the playbook, learn the playbook. And that's, I think, what Coach LaFleur is hinting at, that Carson Beck's doing a good job of with Matt Schaub and Nathaniel Hackett working with him. And along with that, it's different footwork, it's drop back, it's getting under the center, understanding how to throw the ball here, knowing your receivers. I mean, there's so much that Carson Beck is going to take advantage of Jacoby Brissett not being in camp and getting those extra reps. But it's all about classroom work for quarterback, is to learn as much as you can, the reads, the defenses, the understanding. And for a lot of guys like a Carson Beck or the Tyler Shucks of the world, the Bo Nix of the world, even Brock Purdy's, that played a lot of college football, they have an understanding of the reps. Not that it's similar, it somewhat is as far as reads and concerns are, but those are some of the things that they can get that down before training camp is a huge advantage.
All right, winner go home. Spurs Thunder Game 7 in OKC tomorrow night, and the betting line is already on the move. Plus, the Stanley Cup elimination game tonight. Sports handicapper Scott Spreitzer of DocSports.com will weigh in next. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B, right here on ESPN Radio Phoenix.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's ESPN 620 Sports Center update. I'm Matt Lazarus. The D-backs road trip continues tonight as Arizona heads northwest for a weekend series with the Seattle Mariners. The Snakes will now look to keep momentum rolling as they've won 11 of their last 13 games, and Zach Gallen will get the start for Arizona while George Kirby will take the ball for Seattle. First pitch from T-Mobile Park is set for 7:10 p.m. with pregame coverage beginning at 6:30 on 98.7 FM, also streaming live on the Arizona Sports app. With soccer dominating the headlines, Twin Peaks has a giveaway that you need to know about. It's the Go for Goal giveaway, and 5 lucky winners will score a world-class soccer experience this summer, including a hosted match experience, hotel stay, and a $250 Twin Peaks gift card. Enter now at TwinPeaksSoccer.com with no purchase necessary. And want some bonus entries? Just grab your Twin Peaks receipt and enter the daily bonus code through June 14th.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views.
You're invited to Vans Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf to get custom fit for the all-new Titleist GTS drivers. Find the perfect driver for your swing, helping you gain superior distance, accuracy, and speed by personalizing your performance. Be the first to have the new Titleist GTS drivers by booking or fitting in-store or online at worldwidegolf.com. Trusted by golfers since 1963 and home to the legendary 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee. Vans Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Get there.
Hey, Arizona State football fans, London is calling. The Sun Devils are headed across the pond to face Kansas in the inaugural Union Jack Classic, September 19th at Wembley Stadium. It's the first college football game ever played there, and you should be part of it. For tickets, hospitality, and travel packages, visit UnionJackClassic.com or contact the Sun Devil ticket office. Join Coach Dillingham, Sparky, and the Sun Devils in London. Forza, the best defense is a good offense at Studs Against Bugs. Our Tri-Guard technology attacks pests at the source and keeps a barrier around your home year-round. Scorpions, shut down. Ants, pinched. Spiders, game over. Right now, new customers get their first treatment for just $99, a $229 value. No contracts. Call or text 480-670-4529. Or visit studsagainstbugs.com. Studs Against Bugs. Defending the Valley one home at a time. You push hard. You train hard. Shouldn't your soda work just as hard? Meet Hunu, the superfood nutrition soda packed with whole vitamins, electrolytes, and antioxidants. Only 5 grams of natural sugar. Over 2,000 5-star reviews. Voted the #1 soda for athletes. Whole food nutrition. Great taste. That's Hunu. Go to HUNUsoda.com and use code ESPN for 10% off your first order. Hunu Soda. Soda that's actually good for you. HUNUsoda.com. Code ESPN.
When driving in Arizona, move over or slow down for any flashing lights. Move over for tow truck drivers, highway crews, and emergency responders. Move over for any vehicle with its hazards flashing. Because at 65 miles per hour, a vehicle travels over 95 feet in 1 second. 1 second that could change everything. When you move over for anyone, you're not just doing it for them, you're doing it for their families. Their lives are flashing before your eyes. Move over, Arizona. Every vehicle, every time. It's the law. Please visit moveoverez.org. This message is brought to you by ADOT and this station.
Now, sports gamblers, Scott Spreitzer, one of the leaders and most trusted names in the country. Nobody watches and studies games more than he does. From DocSports.com, here's Scott Spreitzer, exclusively on with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy V on ESPN 620.
All right, Scott Spreitzer joins us. Of course, you can follow him on X at Scott Wins, part of DocSports.com. And we say hello. How you doing, Scott? What's going on this afternoon?
I'm doing all right, guys. Just waiting for this big NHL game tonight, watching some college baseball, some regional stuff.
All right, so let's talk hockey. We don't get an opportunity to handicap hockey much. We're always doing football, of course, basketball, and even some baseball. But with the Canes and Canadians tonight, Game 5, Carolina 3-1. Are you laying it with the Carolina at the close, or is there some value on the dog here?
Yeah, I think Carolina gets the job done, guys. It's a situation where, I know they had those 2 back-to-back wins that it took overtime to get those victories, but they were just the right side and then some at both of those. I mean, they've outshot, as far as shots on goal, they've outshot Montreal 109-43 in the last 3 games, and they held Montreal to a grand total of 4 shots on goal in the last 2 third periods combined. So it's just been one of those things where Montreal's just not been able to play their game. I mean, you can kind of tell the level of hockey between these 2 teams when you just look at the hypothetical lines. If Carolina would play Vegas in the Stanley Cup Finals, Carolina would be about a -190 to -$2 favorite to win the series. If Vegas and Montreal were to play, Vegas would be a big favorite over Montreal. So it kind of gives you an idea of where the level of hockey is between these 2 teams. And Frederick Anderson has been standing on his head in net, and he's been terrific all postseason. Not sure if it's all him in this particular series because Montreal doesn't get any shots off. And I'm sitting on my couch the other night watching the entire third period. I never left my couch, and Montreal only had 1 more shot on goal than I did, and I never left my couch for an entire third period. And it was funny to see the Montreal crowd giving a Bronx cheer when they finally got a shot on goal with about 2 or 3 minutes to go in that third period. So I think Carolina finishes up the job tonight. I think if you're going to play anything pro Montreal, it would be Nick Suzuki over 1.5 shots on goal because he is the one guy who just continues to get more time on the ice than any other forward. And if they're going to have a chance, and they better come out with their hair on fire in this game, I think Nick Suzuki's got to be firing the puck on net. And I believe they will tonight. So, if you're going to do anything pro Montreal, that prop on Suzuki over 1.5 shots on goal might not be a bad idea. But as far as the game, I think it's going to be Carolina and Vegas when the Stanley Cup Finals begins in a few days.
It's interesting you bring that up, Scott. With only the 18 shots on goal, as you alluded to, heck, it seems as though Carolina had that many shots in the first period. They take that 3-zip lead from the get-go. So when you look at that combined and you say hair on fire, what does hair on fire look like for the Canadiens?
It probably looks like the coach after the game's over and he's flying back to Montreal without a trophy. But, yeah, I mean, they just got to come out and play. You know what they got to do? They got to throw the puck on net. I mean, they just got to do it. And I'm sitting there watching the game, and, of course, I'm texting back and forth with other handicappers and bettors in my little circle here in Vegas. And we're just kind of like, and I had Carolina, so I was happy about it because, you're not going to throw the puck on net, then you're not going to score. And so, but I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, boy, they should just be out there firing from the blue line. Just bank it off the boards towards the goal, shoot it on the goal. You might get a rebound, but they were not just denied from a lot of open looks. They also weren't firing the puck on net, which was, head scratching. And this season, before Vegas, in fact, fired, Bruce Cassidy and hired Tortorella, they were doing that a lot too, where they were just kind of like skating around and playing a lot of defense and not throwing the puck on net. I mean, bad things don't happen when you throw the puck on net. You might not get a goal, but it's not going to the other net at the same time. So I would think that means that's right. I guess what I would mean when I say hair's on fire, they got to just come out, fire the puck at the goal and hope for the best.
You're talking about Tortorella, taking this team over and just let them have at it. How much of that handicap will go into place once this Hurricanes-Canadiens series is over, taking on Vegas?
Yeah, I throw out everything. I mean, I've been playing Vegas against Colorado. I went 3-1 in that series. I played Colorado in game 2, played Vegas in games 1, 3, and 4. And you just got to throw out everything that happened before Tortorella arrived. They're 19-4-1 since he came on the scene behind the bench. He's just changed things. He's gone to a more traditional approach. Like, one of the problems with the Avs in that particular series, the Avs are like new modern hockey, and they've got like a couple of very quick, talented players, and they look to get them out in the open on the ice and get those two featured, where Vegas was, 5 men to the puck. It's just a very traditional style of hockey. When they're rushing down the other end of the ice into the offensive zone, they know they've got a man in the middle. They've got their two forwards near the circles on the sides, and they fire away and they follow up shots. They put one defenseman out there for a power play rather than what Cassidy was doing with no defenseman on the power play, and that's helped also with Vegas. But, there was a lot of talk last year in the postseason that Cassidy lost the Vegas Golden Knights, lost the locker room during the battle with Edmonton in the playoffs, and never gained that locker room back. There's a difference in approach. Torts is a player coach, and he's got a lot of veterans, so they don't take advantage of that. Where Cassidy, and this is not a shot against his coaching, it's just who he is. Cassidy is the kind of guy he's away from the team. He's in the other room when the team's in the locker room, and he's not really a one-on-one or a hands-on guy with the players. And that's just fit well with this veteran-laden Vegas team that's got 10, 11 guys who've won a cup. They like that players coach mentality that Torts brings to the organization.
How nuts is Vegas right now with their Knights? Is it similar to what it was last time they made this run?
Yeah, they're crazy about him again. It's funny because I'm wondering when I hear people cheering them on, and I see I can remember the reaction when they fired Cassidy, and everybody in Vegas, well, not everybody in Vegas, a lot of people in Vegas who call themselves Golden Knight fans were, pulling their hair out, screaming, how can you fire Cassidy right now? How can they do? And now they're all of a sudden, no, what a great move by the front office. So you know how it is with fans. It's that kind of a situation. But yeah, ticket prices are sky high again, like they were most years, and they're back to being on board with their team.
All right, Spurs at Thunder, Game 7, OKC tomorrow night. OKC's around a 3.5-point favorite, total low 210s. Where's your lean in this one?
Yeah, guys, last night I had my biggest play of the playoffs on San Antonio, so I was very happy with the way that one went. And I think the Thunder catch them on Saturday night, and I think they move on. If we've seen the script before, guys. We just need, if you like the Thunder, you just need Oklahoma City to adhere to it. That script was last season when OKC lost Game 6 in the second round at Denver. They lost by 12. They lost in Game 6 of the NBA Finals at Indiana, 109-91, and then came back and won both Game 7s. They won at home by 32 in Game 7 against Denver and by 12 in the NBA Finals in Game 7 against Indiana. So when I said script, I don't mean like most people say like there's something funny going on. Just that they've been here, they've done this before where they lose Game 6 of a playoff series only to win big in Game 7 back at home. So, I thought San Antonio would be a nice play yesterday. They did capture Game 6. Holmgren was weak on offense. And how about SGA? Simply bad overall. SGA missed 12 of 18 shots. He missed all 5 3-pointers, and he finished with a minus 28 plus minus. That's just something you don't see out of SGA. We saw Wemby bounce back in Game 6 off a bad game the night before, or 2 nights before. And I think SGA is going to bounce back in a big way here back at home on Saturday. I think it'll lead to a better offensive production from his team overall. And one more note about this game before I give you a couple of angles. Do you really think that Oklahoma City is only going to make it to the free throw line 12 times like they did last night? They shot 38 free throws the prior game in Oklahoma City in Game 5. I think they're closer to 38 than they are to 12 in Game 7 when they're going to be back at home. SGA will do his thing. He won the fake award the lady had on the sideline, the Oscar, he'll get his whistles at home. A couple of quick angles on this, guys. Oklahoma City, they're 52-9 and 41-19-1 against the spread at home with a day off between games. The Spurs have only covered 15 of the last 42 with a day off between games. And then Oklahoma City, they're 34-11 against the spread at home in revenge. And they outscored those 45 opponents by 15 points per game. And then finally, and this has been reported elsewhere, I'm not the one that dug this up, but I did go ahead and confirm it. But in the last 44 conference finals closeout games, the outright winner is 41-2-1 against the spread. So you pick the winner and you cover the spread when it comes to the closeout games in these finals. We saw the Knicks do it in Game 4 and in the East, and then we saw San Antonio do it last night in the West. There's one more chance, obviously, a closeout game in the conference finals, and that would be tomorrow night. And I think Oklahoma City is going to win the game, so I think laying the 3.5 is the way to go.
Scott, how much of Jalen Williams are you going to incorporate? Only 10 minutes the other night, last night, I should say. Only 1 point. Still doesn't look completely healthy. And then for San Antonio, De'Aaron Fox, he's been pretty much a non-factor as well. So you can tell he's not 100%, but how much have you factored those two individuals for their teams?
Yeah, you've had to a little bit, I think. And I think in a Game 7 clash, and I thought Jalen Williams, besides the fact he only had the one bucket or whatever, I thought he looked pretty healthy on the floor. And I think OKC can overcome his injury a little bit more than San Antonio can overcome the Fox injury. And so I kind of give the edge there if they're both banged up and not playing at 100% or have to miss a big chunk of the game. I kind of lean towards Oklahoma City having the advantage there. So, that's a good question. And that was one of the things I was looking at is I just think the Thunder are a little bit better at being able to overcome the injury to Jalen Williams.
Scott, we appreciate you, man. Have yourself a great weekend. Thanks for the time.
Take care, guys. Good luck.
Scott Spreitzer, DocSports.com, at Scott Wins on Twitter and X. So coming up, we'll continue as we get closer to hour number 3 with Mark May and some interesting stuff in regards to a trend that's going viral. It has to do with college mascots. It's pretty cool. We'll get into that later. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B from Right Toyota.
Now open in North Scottsdale, it's the Orangedale Lounge. ODs, right off Thompson Peak and Bell, next to Bash's. Your new favorite dive bar has arrived. Cold drafts, chill vibes, always affordable prices, and the OD Mug Club, a one-of-a-kind membership you won't find anywhere else. No frills, just great people, ice-cold drinks, and a bar that feels like it's always been there. Follow at OD Scottsdale and get the scoop at orangedalelounge.com. Orangedale Lounge. Dive in and drink up.
Bigger fields, bigger events, bigger experiences. Arizona Athletic Grounds. Arizona Athletic Grounds is a 275-acre sports and entertainment destination for athletes, fans, and families. Located in Mesa, AAG is one of the largest multi-sport complexes in the country, with over 475,000 square feet indoors and more than 150 fields and courts. From tournaments to training to cheer, dance, concerts, and corporate events, the grounds does it all. Learn more at azgrounds.com. When hot is not an option, Stay Cool delivers. From patios to warehouses, shops to summer events, Stay Cool's Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube mobile air coolers deliver more air for less money. They're rust-free and backed by more than 40 years of experience keeping you cool. Available now online at Home Depot, Lowe's, and Tractor Supply. Shipped to the store or right to your door. Visit staycool-products.com. Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube. Get yours today with free shipping and beat the heat.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Being in an auto accident is traumatic. You need to call the best law firm that has the experience to get you the best results. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Arizona children enter the foster system every day. If you're a parent, a coach, a teacher, or just someone who cares about young people, then you may be in a position to help. Becoming a foster parent not only creates a positive ripple effect in a child's life, it can improve our entire community. That's the foster effect. To learn more, go to azdcs.gov/foster effect. This message is brought to you by the Arizona Department of Child Safety.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
It's Friday, And the guys are live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the price. Wright Toyota, located at 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
All right, let's get into some college football news as SEC versus ESPN scheduling fights become a big story. As the Arkansas AD is ripping ESPN over Arkansas's brutal early season turnaround, a late road game at Utah on September 5th, followed by early kickoff against Georgia the next week. And the SEC commissioner is saying that the league has complained to ESPN, but ESPN controls the kick times under the SEC media deal. So, is this the player safety argument colliding with TV money? What is this?
No, it's just, it cracks me because Arkansas, here's a team that was down for several years, and now they're complaining about the time that they're kicking off and their scheduling. I mean, the SEC, no matter who you play every weekend, whether it's at 6 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock in the morning, just show up and play.
Yeah.
I mean, cry me a river. I mean, all the money you're making and all the benefits that you're getting from so many different areas, it just cracks me up that, now we're going to try to dictate what time we're going to start because we're the SEC. Hey, ESPN, we can't have that kind of schedule because we're the SEC. My ass. Just show up and play.
Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire has fired back to Coach Sark, Steve Sarkisian's comments about in-state competition, and he's floating this idea of both Texas and Texas Tech buying out their week one and meeting at a neutral site, like, say, AT&T. They're in Dallas. It's unlikely, but it's some fun.
I love it.
Some fun off-season or off-season fodder, right?
Texas Tech's coach is such a breath of fresh air. He's kind of old school, doesn't want the limelight. But if you're going to pop off about us, all right, you want to play? Let's just buy out our first game. Let's go be in a neutral site and let's play, Sark. You want to pop off? I mean, Sark even talked about Ole Miss with their underwater basket weaving classes that they have. Yeah. He's since walked that back. Hey, Sark, just be quiet, but be careful what you ask for because you got coaches like Coach McGuire that'd be more than glad to play you anywhere.
Iowa State AD, Jamie Pollard, has been there a long time, has blasted the SEC and the Big Ten over the new College Sports Commission environment. He basically said this. He says, if they want to break away, then go all the way and do it in every sport. So we've talked about this for many, many, many years. And the question is college football heading towards a super league? Or is everyone just bluffing?
Well, we saw.
SEC and Big Ten.
To your point about, Kirby Smart was the last one. He talked about seceding from the SEC. Got other teams talking about it. I think it's probably, sooner rather than later, Rock, with all this chatter going on. And when you have a guy like Greg Stanky, the commissioner of the SEC, barking up and down, it seems like they're trying to lean that way as much as they can. Now, is that going to be next year? Is it going to be 5 years from now? I mean, it could be 10 years, but it seems with all the chatter that we've heard even more so than anything this last 2 years, I think it's sooner rather than later. I really do. I think it could be something that could be ginormous, find that TV partner, and just take it and run.
Speaking of what could be ginormous, something that you're involved in, Manuch, and that is flag football. As the NCAA has taken a major step towards making women's flag football an official championship sport. And the first championship they're projecting would be the spring of 2028, ahead of course, the Olympics in Los Angeles because they're doing that in the Olympics, flag football. So that sport's been really getting a lot of play. I know basketball's getting really involved in it. I know we're getting involved in it out in Arizona Athletic Grounds, so I'm anxious. I think AIA is really big into it now, right? I mean, you coach a lot of those kids.
Yeah, their season is during football season as well, too. And matter of fact, their games are televised. Their championship games are all televised that week, whether it's 3A through the 6A. And the other thing that's starting to happen in women's college flag football is they're starting to see scholarships or partial scholarships given to the young ladies moving on into college. And I think what they're saying is no more club situation of actual sport. I think the timing to be perfect, because there's already tryouts going on for the 2028 Olympics, that would lead into it if they had their final season in spring, would lead right into those Summer Olympics. And so it's growing exponentially. And the one thing they're seeing is a lot of the donors at these colleges are contributing to girls flag football, or they'd like to see more growth with women's flag football in college.
And it's 7, right? 7-on-7?
Yeah, 7-on-7. 7. There's 5-on-5 leagues or 7-on-7. Or it just depends on which way they want to go. So it's 5-on-5, 7-on-7. I think the exhibition we saw of the NFL players and the actual USA team of players, that was flag football. So the flag is you throw it, you can run it. Versus 7 is all passing. So what we're talking about is just flag, where you can run, you can throw. 7 is just strictly just throwing the ball.
So do all the big schools have the sport now?
They're
in high school?
close. Pretty much, yeah. You have some of the schools maybe up north or down south may not, but yeah, they're from 2A all the way through 6A. There's just about every school participates in women's flag.
Is the sport the same? It's 4 downs and everything else is the
Yeah,
same?
flag
essentially?
football. The field.
Yeah, I mean for the women, it's the same as the men.
Yeah. It's pretty much. Well, I mean, I think I want to say it's either 60 or 80 by 20 or 25. So it's a smaller field, smaller venue. So when I think about it, when you look at that, so those are some of the things I know with the junior highs, it's smaller. You get the little guys at junior high, but for high school football, I want to say it's 80 by 20, 25, or it could be a full football field. I'll have to double check on that. But it is, I'll tell you what, Rock, it has really grown the last 3 years. And why wouldn't it be the Hamilton high schools, the Chandler high schools in the East Valley, and on the west side, it's the Canyon Views, the Liberties. It's kind of like the boys football programs and the girls flag football programs somewhat coincide with some of the success they've had.
That's nuts. Staying with college football, the ESPN is leading with this story now that has to do with gambling in college football. And, of course, we've talked about it quite a bit in regards to Sorsby. The headline is placed at least 40 bets on his own team.
Wow.
40 bets.
So this is
on
all
his own
new
team.
information coming out
So
today.
just if you haven't heard, he's a Texas Tech quarterback. Brendan Sorby has been ruled ineligible for admitting that he placed bets on Indiana football when he was on their roster 4 years ago, 2022. He was a true freshman, redshirt quarterback at the time, reportedly appeared in only one game that season. And the reports have said that he bet on Indiana to win, not on the game he actually played in. But now new details have come out. And, of course, I just gave you that headline, which Sorsby allegedly placed at least 40 bets involving Indiana football. So there's more reporting coming out. But in the court filings, his explanation tied to his eligibility fight is that he said he did not bet against Indiana, did not use non-public team information, and that the wagers were small. They were between $5 and $50. And he said that he bet just to feel more connected to the team and his teammates. Now, why does this matter? I mean, this is a huge college football gambling story because it hits every hot button issue that we have. We just had Scott Spreitzer on, who is our handicapper for 20 years now on the show. I mean, legalized sports betting, athlete access to insider information, the NCAA eligibility rules. You got that mental health addiction. You got the NIL money. You got the transfer portal roster building. He transferred from Indiana to Cincinnati, had a strong season last year. Then he became one of the top transfer portal quarterbacks, landed a big chunk of change going to Texas Tech. Now Texas Tech is actually backing him and planning to appeal the decision. And I don't get it. I mean, the debate is, it's one side says, all right, student athletes are told constantly that betting on your own sport, especially your own team, is a line you cannot cross. The other side says, if there's no evidence he bet against Indiana, it either altered the outcomes or used inside information, and if he has gone through any gambling treatment, that this should be handled just as a discipline, let him recover, and move on.
Yeah, any betting one way or the other is just off. But I think what you alluded to is now that DraftKings and FanDuel this young man clearly was addicted. He admits he was addicted. He couldn't resist when he'd get the, what do you call it, the updates would come across on betting. He couldn't resist himself. I mean, it's an addiction, you know.
No,
but I think that, you know, so what's the ramification going to be? So, well, he didn't bet against his team. He bet to win. Any betting, period, is off limits. And I don't think this injunction is going to last. I know Texas Tech would love to see him NCAA change, but it's not going to change. But they can't. Because if they're going to go, okay, well, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. And we're going to look at, you know, well, that guy bet on 25 bets, his basketball team, his football team. I mean, you get guys betting when they're playing on winning. Well, just wait if you owe a lot of money. Matter of fact, he had a lot of people funneling money for him. Over, what, $90,000 in those 4 years, Rob.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, $90,000. Unbelievable.
All right, the money line is coming up, where we get into stuff happening off the field, the deals, the dollars that actually run this whole business. And then buckle up, Mark May will be joining us as well. Always like catching up with a two-time Super Bowl champion, but he'll tell you that he's been in 3 Super Bowl. He'll make a case for that. But he didn't win, so he doesn't have a ring.
Yeah, you got to be a 2-time winner, not a one-time loser.
And then we'll get into some D-backs. Are they a legit playoff club, or do they need we need to see them beat somebody that's good first? We'll figure that out this weekend, probably, and next against Hell. All right, hour number 3 next.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money. A lot. And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast. It's quick. The setup was so easy. It took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines. Essentials choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rates reserved.
Join the team at All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing company and leader in roadside service. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service pros ready to grow with us. You'll enjoy state-of-the-art equipment, consistent schedules, full health benefits, a strong 401k match, employer life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Take your career to the next level. Apply today at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is always moving forward.
When it's game time in the Valley, you know what time it is. It's Twin Peaks time. Head to Twin Peaks with 5 Valley locations and massive screens everywhere you look. From basketball, baseball, to hockey, fights, and more, there's no better place to catch every play and all the action. Bud Light is a proud partner of sports fans everywhere. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
KTAR AM Phoenix, Arizona's home for the worldwide leader in sports. Is ESPN 620.
Friday, the guys go by from Wright Toyota.
Right on the corner, right on the front. Right Toyota, located at 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
All right, time for a little money line, where I kind of give you some stuff that's happening off the field, the deals and some of the dollars that are actually supplying this sport. And there's a lot today. We'll start with baseball because they might be heading for a big fight. The owners finally said out loud yesterday they want a salary cap, a real one. They're talking a floor around 171 million, a ceiling around 245, and then a 50-50 split with the players. And here's what that actually means. About a dozen teams would have to spend more, and 8 teams would have to cut. And guess who's at the top of the list? Of course, it's the LA Dodgers. They're sitting on a $420 million payroll right now. And Manfred, the commissioner, says it's straight up, it's not a fair fight. And he's not wrong. Baseball is the only big league in the country without a cap. But this is the big but. The players hate it. Always have. And the last time the owners pushed a cap this hard, that fight canceled the 94 World Series. And that current deal is up December 1st. So, yeah, start paying attention now. Now flip it. The same sport, way happier story, is expansion. Sacramento has jumped in, and they have formally said they want a team, and they're not alone. Salt Lake, Nashville, which would be a great market. Portland, I don't think that would work. Orlando, you need another team in Florida. Even Montreal and Mexico City are all circled. And the commissioner, Manfred, wants 2 new cities picked before he's out in a couple years. And the price to get in used to be $2.2 billion. The Padres just sold for almost $4 billion. So that's the number, and that is the number that they're going to go off, and that will go up. So for whatever it's worth, the last time, of course, baseball expanded was 98. That's us with the D-backs and Colorado. So that is my first money line baseball story in regards to the salary cap. We dove into that quite a bit yesterday. But now we turn to the NBA. The gambling stuff just keeps getting worse. The feds piled on Terry Rozier yesterday. New charges, 4 counts now. Now they say he took about $70,000 a bribe to pull himself out of a game early back in 2023. So people could bet the under on his numbers. And then here's the part that you just can't make up. He was supposed to get $100,000, but he only got 70 because he grabbed 4 rebounds and went over one of his own betting lines. He couldn't even take it right. He screwed that up. His lawyer says there's nothing here, nothing there, but 2 other guys have already pleaded guilty.
You know, it's interesting. You see that, and it keeps getting worse. You know, we talked about college gambling in the last segment there as we ended the second hour. And you look at this, and with the DraftKings and the FanDuel, and this, I really feel, Rock, this is kind of the tip of the iceberg. There's probably some things that happened prior to this year, for years past. But this thing is going to, I think, quite frankly, will get worse with all the individuals that have been indicted in part of this. But this is just like, well, you can't even keep track of your own betting, your own gambling while you're playing.
And speaking of NBA gambling in the same breath, Rockets owner, what's it, Fertitta, just bought Caesars, the casino company. $17.6 billion. This guy already owns Golden Nugget, and he's the biggest shareholder in DraftKings. So now you've got an NBA owner running one of the biggest gambling empires on the planet. He says, "Oh, don't worry. He's keeping it separate from the Rockets."
Yeah, right.
All right, we'll see about that. Now the women's side of basketball. I guess this is nice. If Jimmy B was here, he'd love it. The WNBA and the players have finalized their new deal, and they're cutting checks to their retired players, the legends of the game, as Jimmy would say. And
the legends of the game.
Up to $100,000 each for the longtime stars and the old MVP. So about 280 women are splitting about $14 million. Think about this. When the league started in 97, the best players made $50,000 a year. Now the minimum in that league now is $270,000. So that's how far it's come. But still, there's nobody. They don't really draw that well.
No, they
TV
don't.
ratings, who's watching?
I mean, in the new CBA, I mean, the current players had to vote on that to go ahead and cut that $14 million to the retired players or those that are part of it. I mean, hey, I was part of a retired players situation. What was that? 7 years ago.
I remember that.
When the new CBA incorporated a 4-year to a 3-year to go ahead and get vested, and as an advantage. So I think a lot of those retired players are thanking their current players for the new CBA.
All right, we're doing our money line, off the field stuff. College football now, they cannot get out of their own way. As the Big 12 coaches all got in a room and they voted unanimously, let's go to a 2014 playoff. All 16 of them. And our buddy Rich Rodriguez, formerly of the University of Arizona in West Virginia, we voted. It was unanimous. Makes sense for them. Last year, they only got one team in the 12. So now they'd have a chance to have 5 in the 2014 field. So the problem here is the SEC just wrapped up their meetings. They want no part of it. No agreement at all. Their commissioner likes 16. The coaches are all over the place, and the money guys are scared that a 2014 playoff makes the regular season meaningless. You know, there's one Texas guy basically said, "We just signed a deal for 12. Can we just pump the brakes?" And here's the kicker: the SEC and the Big Ten have to agree by December 1st. They're not even in the same area code right now.
So that'd be for the 2027 season.
2027. Meanwhile, you got Washington trying to step in. A bipartisan group of senators just dropped a bill. It's called the Protect College Sports Act to actually put some rules on this thing. Transfers, NIL, agents, even stop coaching from quitting mid-season. We see that once in a while. And the president of the Yankees, Randy Levine, is the president's college football sports panel. He's kind of running this thing. Called it the first step. He said a little that this could happen, so we'll see. So time will tell. And last one in the college, one fun one, I guess. It's going viral, is the mascot reveal. Who's the kid in the costume? Now they're finally taking this big leap, and they're taking the head off. They're showing the crowd who's been under that the whole year. The videos are blowing up. Apparently that's the best kept secret on a campus.
Yes.
Who the mascot is.
It's interesting that you bring this up because I remember Willie the Wildcat at K-State. Nobody knew who the guy was. And I think the rumor got out on campus that so-and-so over at the fraternity over is the guy. Because they're all these real gymnastic athletic guys, right? And he's like one of the top gymnasts when they had, gymnastics at K-State. So they kind of sort of knew, but they were always sworn to that nobody would ever know. So this would be kind of fun. Well, I've got that guy in class, or he's the one that did this, and this. So, anything to add a little flavor to college sports.
All right, a couple send you out here. WWE, they're putting one of their biggest matches of the year on YouTube, and they're doing it for free. It's tomorrow in Mexico, a mask versus mask deal between two guys, both named El Grande Americano. Don't ask.
Big American.
But that's how all in WWE is on YouTube now. And their channels did do 12 billion views last year, but they rather give away the big match to grow the crowd, I guess. And last one, World Cup kicks off on June 11th. Here, Mexico, Canada, and the FAA is jumping in, and they're locking down the airspace. No drones anywhere near stadiums on game days, none near the fan parties. And it's kind of a local thing here. It stretches to where teams are staying and training, as Turkey is based in Mesa at the Arizona Athletic Grounds. So that could be a no drone zone right here in the valley. So if you fly one where you're not supposed to, they'll take your drone, charge you, and fine you $100,000. So leave it home.
Yeah.
That's the money line.
I think that when you look at something like NFL stadium, baseball, all of it just kind of coincides with the no-fly zone with the drones. It's interesting because you look at all the ads for the World Cup that are coming on.
The Michelob Ultra ad is phenomenal.
Yes. Yeah.
With Billy Bob Thornton, Messi, and every superstar. It's badass. I think it's like 2 minutes long.
Yes. they're hyping it pretty good, but it's a great ad. I mean,
It's
it really
awesome.
kind of sets the tone. And then you got another commercial that's on about they're talking about, there's one guy that sits there and he kind of pulls his arm and it says USA. So they're promoting it. What was that? Starts in 2 weeks, I believe. June 11th. Yeah, June 11th. So anxious, excited to see how the USA team can do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. So there you go. Money line here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. By the way, our State 48 Roofing, it's your call. Question of the day is, we're talking a lot of Game 7 today, of course, with the NBA tomorrow. So the question's simple. What kind of Game 7 is most exciting for you? Is it hockey, NBA, or baseball? Those are your three choices. And you can head over to any of our social media platforms and just check it out just search Roc and Manuch. And it's always brought to you by State 48 Roofing for a free roof inspection before the monsoons hit. They'll be here before you know it. Just go to state48roofing.com.
It's supposed to be an El Nino summer. Supposed to be warmer than it's always been warm, but they said more moisture forecast. So give State 48 Roofing a call because that moisture hits, but it's going to be more so in an El Nino. That means more rain, but also means higher heat. So can it get any hotter than 120 for any 4 or 5 days at one time?
I bet it could. All right, Suns are home. The Cup finals are set. Knicks are back. But here's the story nobody's really talking about or telling. That's the Arizona Diamondbacks. They're the hottest team in baseball. 14 wins in their last 18. 2 sweeps of Giants. Climbing right back into this National League West race. They're in Seattle tonight. We'll tell you whether it's real. Stay right here. We're at Right Toyota. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B on ESPN Radio Phoenix.
Right in the heart of Arizona Athletic Grounds, one of the largest youth sports complexes in North America. Bristol's is the ultimate hangout for families and sports fans in Mesa. Come experience amazing double-decker cheeseburgers, award-winning wings, smoked barbecue, and fresh, craveable salads. With seating for 500, a full bar, 20 beers on tap, and over 100 TVs, happy hour Thursdays, Friday and Sunday from 4 till 6, plus trivia night every Thursday night. Bristol's, where Mesa comes to eat, watch, and win.
Arizona's headquarters for Toyotas is Right Toyota. Hey, Rock, for my friends at Right Toyota in Scottsdale. You will always find the right deal at Right Toyota. Right Toyota has been driving Arizona's home for years with their amazing service, pricing, and great selection. I encourage you to discover the difference at Right Toyota. Make the right choice, Right Toyota, just off the 101 on Franklin Wright Boulevard, and always online at righttoyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Check out righttoyota.com.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Getting rear-ended once is bad enough. Don't let the insurance company hit you again with a lowball offer. Call an experienced attorney who knows how to fight and win. Call Lerner and Rowe today. 977-1900.
Phoenix, if you need a plumber, call the team that does it the right way. Victory Plumbing Arizona. It's particular plumbing for particular people with upfront pricing before the work starts. So there's no surprises when the job's done. And here's a deal just for listeners. Tell them you heard Victory Plumbing on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, and they'll waive the service charge. For leaks, clogs, water heaters, or anything plumbing, book today at victoryplumbingarizona.com. ROC number 268603.
Nobody does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Nobody. Whatever you're craving, we got it. Tequila cocktails, premium bourbon pours, and top shelf spirits served over ice balls that hit just right. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails, yep, all here. And with 5 Valley locations. And don't forget the teeth-chattering 29-degree drafts we're famous for. Pair it all with scratch kitchen bites that actually satisfy. From shareables to hearty favorites. When it comes to happy hour, Twin Peaks doesn't play. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
Arizona businesses need more skilled workers, and our students are the solution. At the Pima Joint Technical Education District, we build the talent Arizona businesses rely on. With cutting-edge programs in health and technology and hands-on career training, our 30,000 students will graduate ready for high-demand careers. JTED builds the future of Arizona's workforce. Learn how our students will bring excellence to your business at pimajted.org. This message is sponsored by Potoff Private Philanthropy.
It's Friday, and the guys are live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the price. Wright Toyota, located at 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
Here's the 1-0. And Marte swings. High drive. Left field. Game, set, match. All right, let's talk some baseball because something's happening down at Chase that's kind of flown under the radar for some people in this town. And honestly, who can blame us? The Suns got swept. The NBA's got a Game 7 tomorrow. The Vegas Knights are in the Cup final. Knicks are back in the finals for the first time since the 90s. It's been a lot. But while all this has been going on, the D-backs have quietly turned into one of the hottest teams in baseball. And tonight they roll into Seattle to find out just how real this is. And so let me lay it out for you. The D-backs, 31-24. They've won 5 in a row, 14 in the last 18. That's pretty impressive. It's the best record of baseball over that stretch. Nobody's even close to that being that hot. Phillies are pretty good. They've been hot. But they've earned it the hard way. They just survived 13 games in 13 days. No day off, a true grind, and they turned out an 11-2 record. That run, including the couple sweeps, of course, in San Francisco, which is now, it's the second time, inside that 10-game window that they took care of that. So they've owned that matchup. But it's been a whole roster that's kind of pulling the rope, right? You got Corbin Carroll. He put together one of the longest streaks in the majors. Tel Marte, you just heard what he just did. He's been kind of locked in, and he's got, he's stacking these 3-hit games back to back. And on the mound, the pitching, Merrill Kelly has been the anchor, winning 4 straight, across the 1,000 inning mark for his career. It's his 4th pitcher in the history for the D-backs to do that. And then the back end, how about Paul Sewald? Slammed the door, got his 100th save over the Giants. And you add all it up, and they've climbed into a tie for second in the National League West. They put themselves right back in the postseason picture. I know it's only May 29th, but gives us something to talk about until Bay football gets here. But, that roller coaster the first 6 weeks, and they flipped it. So, I guess, is it real? Is it mirage? What's actually driving this? Can they hold it up? There's some big questions.
I think timing's everything, right? Colorado, San Francisco came on the scene at the right time. As you mentioned, 11-2. I think a couple things, the starting rotation really came around. The only guy that's kind of somewhat struggling is Zach Gallen, who takes the bump tonight. But, it just really is, okay, for a time to them to get healthy, to get traction, and whether it's against 2 of the lowest teams in Major League Baseball, so what? Gives them some confidence. Guys got hot. Look at Ketel Marte. His batting average up 60 points over the last 3 weeks. Look at the team. They were 3 weeks ago, they were 9th in the wild card. They're currently 1st in the wild card race. As you mentioned, it's early. And the other thing, too, that you look at is that they're number 1 in the league as far as clutch hitting. Runners in scoring position, they're currently number 1. And I think that when guys get hot at the right time, Corbin Carroll's, Ketel Marte's, Perdomo starting to feel it. Nolan Arenado, he really started to get on track as well, too. Now, whether he plays, I think he's day-to-day these next 3 games because of the groin injury that he had. They took him out of the game. But I think the other luxury that the Diamondbacks are starting to see is Ildemaro Vargas has continued to play good, solid baseball. You look at guys like Ryan Walsh with the young guys, Tawa. You look at Troy. You look at Fernandez. Young guys are playing good baseball during this stretch to give them that confidence when they play the teams like Seattle, L.A., Washington, on and on and on. So I think that the blessing.
Well, are you putting Seattle in there with Colorado and San Francisco?
No. I mean,
they're in first place.
I think what it did is it kind of prepped them. The blessing in disguise was, I guess, playing 2 lowly teams for these guys to get experience, have success. Now that they're going into Seattle, playoff team who's now in the lead, they just swept the A's 3 games, but they're now in the lead in the American League West, is getting that opportunity to play, have success, and carry that. Now, obviously, when the Dodgers come in on as a Monday, I believe, a 4-game home set against the LA Dodgers. Okay, let's see where this team is at, basically close to the halfway point in the season. Did that help this team? Can they continue to get runners in scoring position? Can Marte stay hot? Can Carroll stay hot? Can they be as consistent with teams that are much better than Colorado and San Francisco? So I think that the timing was good for them to come out of their funk, to get their starting rotation, and some of the guys could play, and some of the guys could get hot to see how they do against playoff contending teams.
Yeah, I mean, how much, I don't know, 14 wins in 18 games. I mean, you wonder from the inside what changed. Was it the conversation of the skipper with the pitching staff, and we could tell Marte a little note he put in the shoe in the locker room and things of that sort, or just everything's starting to click? These guys have no pressure, and they're young kids. I mean, we talked about, many years ago, we talked about the baby backs. Remember, all these guys came up in May, they were winning all these games. I mean, I don't know what we're calling these guys now, but call them the baby backs again, because you just mentioned, you just rattled off a bunch of guys that, I don't know if they even have a baseball card yet.
Well, here's the other thing, too. Lawler will be coming back. Pavin Smith will be coming back. Puck will be coming back. Corbin Burns will be coming back eventually.
It's July, maybe?
Yeah, July. I mean, if they're holding serve and they're within 4 or 5 games, why rush them back? Now, I know that the reports I heard is he's getting tired of the of pitching on the side, and then also you look at some of the other guys that are going to be part of this team. That Torey Lovullo set it up perfectly. A lot of guys are playing a lot of baseball, young guys off the bench, and I think the confidence that they'll have as they get into the All-Star weekend, the early part of July, is the second half of the season. I think they'll have a pretty good arsenal of guys that play a lot of baseball, guys confident. I really believe, though, Rock, it's just about the starting rotation, staying solid, getting those clutch hits, and then your bullpen staying solid against these top-notch teams they're going to play against. I mean, the Washington Nationals, they lead the league in runs scored, but they also lead the league in runs given up. Mm-hmm. So, they're winning games 8-7, and they do win 8-5. It's just a matter when you play a team like that that's scoring in bunches, how do you hold them down? And then can you keep up with them to put 6-7 runs on the board? I mean, you just talked about this team is 11-2. They outscored their opponents, that being the Rockies and Giants, 76-36. So you look on average, they outscored their opponents 6-3 by double. Now, will they do that against a much better pitching in Seattle and LA is yet to be seen.
Yeah, I'm anxious. I'm not really concerned about Seattle, and I know a lot of people are talking about, okay, Dodgers in for 4 next week. Otani's probably going to go on Wednesday. But I don't think a series in first week of June against the Dodgers is going to change how I feel if this team is a wild card team or not. It's pretty clear that the NL West is going to be won by the Dodgers. There's no reason why it won't at $420 million freaking payroll. It's going to be won, but it's that next spot, and if they can get that spot, anything can happen. Look at all the Dodgers, how well they were doing, winning regular seasons, and then they get to the playoffs and they're getting knocked out.
Well, but now they're
exception of last couple of years.
Yeah, now they're looking for the trifecta.
Yeah,
the other thing too is, I think for the Diamondbacks, it'll be a matter of just keeping pace with the Padres. Manny Machado, once he starts hitting, and Tatis. Once he starts hitting the long ball again, you got to keep track of them and not falling back. Now, I believe they will make at least a wild card. I mean, they're currently first. You go from 9th to 1st in 3 weeks. That's a huge jump. Then I think from that standpoint, if you're holding serve and you're winning series, they've won, 4 series in a row, looking to win their 5th. I think that's going to have to be the main stable for Torey Lovullo. If every once in a while this team is starting to make mental mistakes, some gaps in the as far as errors are concerned, that he's not going to have a heart-to-heart that you alluded to that he had with his team and his play and his starting rotation on a weekly basis. If it needs to be said, Torey does a good job of saying it, and I think it gets their attention. But I think that they now understand that here they are 4 games back or 4.5 games back to first place, and number 1 in the wild card, that they've got something to work with now. So I think that's part of Torey Lovullo's job, is to make sure that starting rotation stands pat, and these hitters stay fresh, and he works guys in to give them that rest that they need.
So Gallen gets a start tonight. He's 3-4, 4.80 ERA. Can he kind of get this thing rolling? There's some talk about what's going on with Brandon Bott. He's you raised the idea of maybe sending him down.
And my concern is he getting the work in that he needs?
Yeah.
I mean, you get all the work on the side, but I don't know. I mean, he's had a couple of long with 2 innings, 4 innings, but I don't know. Is he getting every 4, 5, 6 days? Is he getting that work? I know Torey Lovullo wants to get him in and try to keep it as regular as he can, like if he was in the starting rotation 4 or 5 days. But I got to tell you what, Rock, at some point, if he's going to eventually be one of your starters next year, he's got to go get some work. So I'd have no problem sending him down for a couple, 2, 3 weeks. Go get 3 or 4 starts.
What do? You always say you don't lose your job because of an injury.
Yeah.
But if these guys are clicking, and it just say they make a run here this weekend and they win 80%, okay, Seattle and then LA, you're rolling. And then also you got David Smith, who's on the rehab assignment right now. You mentioned Jordan Lawler. He's expected back early June. He's got that fractured right wrist, right?
Yep.
What do? You got Tommy Troy up playing really well.
Played real well.
Garrell will come back. He was placed on the 10, which was 6 days ago. So I mean, it's tough. I mean, there's only 9 positions out there,
and you're not going to pull Vargas when Pavin Smith is healthy.
Yeah,
and Fernandez is kind of that guy, that spot guy, and and then look at Santana. When he's completely healtty.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
Santana,
they might
stand that signing anyway.
He might become a defensive replacement late in games. I could see that role for him.
Or you put him in when the team, they're going to have these games where they get blown out.
Sure, pinch hitter, DH, and get him back in the fold.
All right, first year head coach. You got Kyler Murray out the door. Your presumed starter is holding out. You got a rookie that's turning heads, and even the Aaron Rodgers rumors are still flying. There's chaos in the Cardinals, and we're going to catch up with Mark May, the 2-time Super Bowl champion, see if he can make sense of it. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B here from Right Toyota on ESPN Radio Phoenix.
Jimmy B's ESPN 620 Sports Center update. I'm Matt Lazarus. The D-backs road trip continues tonight as Arizona heads northwest for a weekend set with the Seattle Mariners. Snakes will now look to keep momentum rolling as they've won 11 of their last 13 games. Zach Gallen will get the start for Arizona while George Kirby will take the ball for Seattle. First pitch from T-Mobile Park is set for 7:10 p.m. with pregame coverage beginning at 6:30 on 98.7 FM, also streaming live on the Arizona Sports app. With soccer dominating the headlines, Twin Peaks is a giveaway you need to know about. It's the Go for Goal giveaway, and 5 lucky winners will score a world-class soccer experience this summer, including a hosted match experience, hotel stay, and a $250 Twin Peaks gift card. Enter now at TwinPeaksSoccer.com with no purchase necessary, and if you want some bonus entries, just grab your Twin Peaks receipt and enter the daily bonus code every day through June 14th.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views.
Rock for WrightToyota.com. At Right Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all their innovative web tools on RightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at RightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at RightToyota.com.
When hot is not an option, Stay Cool delivers. From patios to warehouses, shops to summer events, Stay Cool's Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube mobile air coolers deliver more air for less money. They're rust-free and backed by more than 40 years of experience keeping you cool. Available now online at Home Depot, Lowe's, and Tractor Supply. Shipped to the store or right to your door. Visit staycool-products.com. Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube. Get yours today with free shipping and beat the heat.
Hey, Arizona State football fans, London is calling. The Sun Devils are headed across the pond to face Kansas in the inaugural Union Jack Classic, September 19th at Wembley Stadium. It's the first college football game ever played there, and you should be part of it. For tickets, hospitality, and travel packages, visit UnionJackClassic.com or contact the Sun Devil ticket office. Join Coach Dillingham, Sparky, and the Sun Devils in London. Forks up.
We get it. A meal shouldn't cost you nearly $20. And we agree. At Venezia's Pizzeria, lunch or dinner for under $10 is still a thing. And for an even sweeter deal, stop in and grab a Slice Rewards card. Get a stamp for every qualifying Slice special. 10 visits, 1 free qualifying special. Simple. And every Tuesday, we double your stamps. That's your free pizza twice as fast. Venezia's Pizzeria, a family tradition with great rewards.
Are you looking for career opportunities with great benefits and job growth? How about the chance to make an impact? What we do here at the City of Phoenix matters. 14,000 employees and counting, all dedicated to making a difference in the communities where they live, work, and play. So come join us. Help us do work that makes Phoenix work. You can see all open positions and apply at phoenix.gov/jobs. This message is sponsored by the City of Phoenix.
Now to talk everything football is two-time Super Bowl champion, a member of the famed Washington Redskins Hogs offensive line, 1981 first-round pick, earned All-American honors at Pitt, and a member of the College Football Hall of Fame, football analyst and commentator Mark May, now on ESPN 620.
It's time to go unfiltered, uncensored with Mark May, who joins us now on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, ESPN Radio Phoenix. How we doing there, Mayday? What's happening?
Great, guys. It's under 100 degrees. Actually, it's under 90 degrees out here in Mesa. Weather's great, so it's good for me.
So you're saying that Mesa is 10 degrees cooler than Scottsdale is what you're saying right now? It's only 90 there?
Yeah, it's only 90. It's 87.
It's 87 in Mesa, everybody. All right. Did you ever do, when you played all those years, in the NFL, did you ever go in on a Sunday night and do weather for any TV stations?
Chile today, hot tamale. Doing weather for South America.
All right. So here you are. You're sitting out there in Mesa, and you're seeing all the headlines. You're hearing what's going on with the Cardinals, and you hear their presumed starter, Jacoby Brissett, is holding out. He's not there for OTAs. He's missing out on this new offense. What are you saying out there when you're sitting on your couch and you're reading this and seeing this?
Family show now, Mark.
Yeah,
May. Family show. Careful.
What would you expect? It's the Cardinals. Think about it, guys. If you take a guy that's a backup, that's a career backup, that had a decent year last year, even though he went 1-11, his numbers were really good. They're throwing the ball down the field vertically finally as a pocket passer. And you name him the starter before the draft, before you even trade for Gardner Minshew.
Sure.
You name him the starter going into the season, and he's only making $5 million a year around there. What do you think he's going to say? Gee, let me be the lowest paid quarterback in NFL history as a starter. Let's just do this, Cardinals, because you do everything else backwards. Well, why wouldn't you do that? If you're Jacoby Brissett, you're starting in the National Football League. You're one of 32 on the planet. You're going to play for peanuts? You're named the starter? Pay the guy what he's worth. Step up and do the right thing for once for this organization. You do everything backwards. Why do you think you stink every year? There's multiple reasons. I could give you a litany of them. But you stink because you always do the wrong thing. The easy way out, the cop out, the stupid thing. Now you got a quarterback that once he gets there, what's his mind situation going to be like? What's he going to sit back and say? Is he going to be happy with what he's being paid, or is he going to be ticked off? Because he knows it's probably going to be a one-year deal, and he's going to be out of here anyway. So why not go ahead and try to get what you can while you can?
And, Mark, it's the timing of everything on top of it. I mean, to your point, why wasn't this resolved maybe a month or 2 months ago? I'm sure he just didn't wake up 2 weeks ago before OTAs. You know what? I think I should be paid starter money. This has got to be in the works. And now it's been reported that they're significantly far apart in reference to what he wants, where they want to go. So I'm a lot like you. Yes, he deserves that money. Now, he's not going to make $35 to $50 million a year, which is on average of starters, but there's got to be some kind of significant bump in pay one way or the other to resolve this and move forward.
Absolutely. Give him an Aaron Rodgers deal. What's Aaron Rodgers making? 2025? He's a future Hall of Famer. And what you can tell him is like, yes, he's at the end of his career, but you're not in the springtime of your career either, Jacoby. We're going to give you 20 or 22.5. That should be enough to get you in and take care of this and resolve this, and let's move on. But will they do that? Probably not. They'll probably wait to the last minute and try to squeeze every little penny out of the situation as they normally do, and you get what you pay for. You know something?
So if he doesn't agree to agree, let's just say that they're too far apart, and then throw the option at, well, we got Gardner Minshew, we got this rookie Carson Beck, and then we got Keaton Slovis. And, we're set. So, hey, take it or leave it here, Jacoby. Do you think they could throw that at him as well, too?
They could, and if he sits out, he could sit there and say, you know what? I'll wait and see if another quarterback goes down in the league, and I'll put the pressure on you to trade me during the season. Because at least you'll get value for me. At least I can get the heck out of here. Good things ain't cheap, and cheap things ain't good. You get what you pay for. And this team just doesn't understand that philosophy in the NFL. You're going to put a bad product on the field with the schedule that you have. You're underdog in every single game this year by DraftKings. Every single game. And if you're a Cardinals fan, why the heck would you pay for this garbage when they keep raising prices on you? Stay home. Save the money. If there's an opposing team coming to town that you want to see, go buy a ticket off the internet. I wouldn't pay for these tickets for this garbage. It's ridiculous.
And here's the thing. The only other team to be underdog in every game was the 2020 Denver Broncos, who ended up 5-11 that year. And then the Walmart family took over just, a couple years after that. So that really enhanced where they were going. But my comment to you, Mark, is this and then the Josh Sweat situation all rearing their ugly head prior to the OTAs. And if the Josh Sweat situation allegedly was mentioned after the season, we've already had free agency. We've had the draft, and we're at OTAs. I mean, it's like it's all bass backwards all together again, which just mystifies not only us here locally, but the national pundits as well.
But covering this team locally and knowing this franchise in the front office, what do you expect from them? Do you expect them to turn around and do the right thing anytime ever? Think about it. Look at what they've done in the past. They're always drafted in the top 5, top 6 now in the NFL. Bringing Monty on before they haven't done anything better, haven't picked any better. And then you go and you draft a Jeremiah Love with the first pick, the third pick in the first round, and you don't have anybody blocking for them. They needed to revamp this offensive line and bring at least 2 more starters on this offensive line minimum. NFL body tested. If you're going to draft a running back that high in the draft, you better support that kid. And guess what? He's going to end up just like the kid that went to Oakland last year out of Boise State that couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. He was tackled either the line of scrimmage or before the line of scrimmage, 35% of his touches.
And all that being said, I just the timing just mystifies. I think so many Cardinal fans now, Mark, I think who are holding off on the season tickets for us as broadcasters, us as ex-players. It's either one thing after the other with this organization. Now, Roc and I talked about this earlier. Other organizations are talking about, who's going to surround Patrick Mahomes? Lamar Jackson's back. Kyler Murray's competing with J.J. McCarthy. The ancillary things seem to haunt this Cardinals franchise year after year after year.
Every year. And you can attack this. There's a way to fix this, and they just don't do it. It's like I sit back and laugh now and watch. It's like, here are like 5 or 6 things that this team could do to turn this possibly around and get it headed in the right direction. They don't even look at one of them. They do the opposite of just about everything you think they could do to correct the situation. They just won't do it. And I think they're satisfied with mediocrity. I really do. And they're not even it's not even mediocre. This team stinks. With this schedule, it's unbelievable. I'm looking at the schedule right now, and you tell me where there's a win right here. Looking at the schedule. Chargers, Seahawks, 49ers, Giants, Lions, Rams, Broncos, the Cowboys, Seattle, the Rams, Kansas City, Washington, Philadelphia. They got bye in Week 14. They'll probably be underdog against bye.
Maybe the Giants.
Catch that, everybody? They're going to be an underdog.
It's just the thing is like they hit these draft picks that they draft early. It's like I just don't understand their philosophy. They had the worst defense statistically in the NFL last year. Why would you bring the defensive coordinator back?
Exactly.
Could somebody please give me an answer to that? They're one of the worst defenses in the league, but yet you have a head coach that's never been a head coach before ever, and his first year as a head coach in the NFL, and you retain the defensive coordinator.
We beat that up pretty good. No, you can't, Mark. I mean, and even for a lot of those players who are not enamored with Wallace. There is what we had heard, some head scratching from that standpoint too. I mean, it could be, I don't know what his contract is. Maybe he had 1 year left. Maybe Michael Bidwell didn't want to pay him and then bring some other bona fide defensive coordinator that wanted to make, $1.5 million to $2 million a year.
Well, that really helped your young former offensive coordinator out that's never been a head coach before in LaFleur. That really helps him. So that you're setting him up to lose already by bringing up one of the worst defensive coordinators in the league. Brilliant decision.
So I'm Mr. Two-time Super Bowl champion, been to 3, 1-2, quarterback situation. So here's Carson Beck. He's got a lot of lineage as far as games played in college. At what point, if this thing goes south with Jacoby Brissett or Gardner Minshew, do you throw him in there to see what you have or what you don't have? Or is that even fair to say to allow him to play 10, 12 games?
Well, it depends how he captures the offense. It goes through OTAs. It goes through the preseason training camp situation. They've got 4 games because they have the Hall of Fame game this year. Give him a chance to operate. If he plays, go ahead and throw him in there. Because at least you've got to find out what you have. Because you're not going to the playoffs. You're not winning the division. It ain't happening. You're not going to be a wild card. So you might as well throw him out there to the Wolves to see what he's got, because next year's draft is supposed to be the quarterback draft. And don't ever think you're getting Arch Manning, because it ain't going to happen. If they wouldn't let Eli go to the Chargers, they're not letting Arch go to the Cardinals.
I was just going to say that. I mean, the good old John Elway way of not going to Baltimore, and then Eli didn't want to go to San Diego. That's interesting you bring that up, because a lot of folks have been hinting that this class, the 2027 class, is much better. And I'm like, if Carson Beck is getting it and showing progress, why would you go back to the well and get somebody else if well enough is good enough for this team?
But with Carson Beck, where is he going to have progress? Look at the teams he's playing and the defenses he's playing. I mean, the first home game against Seattle, right off the bat, he's going to be going against one of the better defenses in the league. In all the home games, you look at their great defenses. Look at the Lions. Look at the Broncos. Look at the Rams. The only British are going to get probably Washington. Maybe the Jets are much improved this year on both sides of the ball. They put money in free agency and into the draft. Look what the Raiders have been able to do. Not only at the quarterback position with Mendoza, but here's the thing. All the players they brought in defensively, and they got the number 1 center in free agency to come in. So they've upgraded the almost every position, and then you close out with the 49ers at home. The only game that they may win at home in my book are the Jets. Well, I think that's going to come down to the wire, and I think the Jets at that time, they may be a 5-win team that they're going to put everybody out there and try to win 6 or 7 games to keep the head coach's job.
What did you think of your? We haven't talked about the Redskins. The Commanders. 40 and slip there. Excuse me. In reference to their draft and where they're headed going into 2026.
Well, the problem is you've got a head coach that's on the hot seat. They had that brilliant year with Jaden Daniels, and they took up to the NFC title game where they lost that. You lose your offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. You bring in a guy that's never called plays. So they're in a situation offensively. They got some holes to fill on the offensive line, which a lot of teams do. They got scary Terry McLaurin on the outside as a wide receiver. He's probably the best player they've got offensively. But defensively, they were old last year. They were slow last year. They tried to replace a lot of those guys this year in the draft and free agency. They'll be better, but I just think if you look at it as a total, I think this is probably a 7 or 8 win football team at best.
So if I was to say, what's better for the National Football League? Is it to have the Commanders, Giants, Cowboys to step up this year and be relevant?
Probably the Cowboys. If the Cowboys are relevant, which they should be because their defense should be a lot better, it can't be much worse than it was last year. And if our offense with Dak continues to grow and if Pickens isn't a problem offensively at the wide receiver position because he wants that contract, this is a team that should step up and get to that 9 to 10 win plateau and probably right on the cusp of winning division or be a wild card football team. The Giants are going to be better this year just because Harbaugh's going to be better, but I think he's still got holes on the defensive line to fill. They're good on the outside, but on the inside, once they got rid of Lawrence, I think that was a big loss for them. This is a football team offensively that when you look at it, you look at the quarterback position and what they've been able to do running the football. If they can continue to run the football, they drafted on their offensive line guard, and they got a tackle in the later rounds. That's what they needed on the right side. If they can fill that right side of the offensive line, they're going to be really competitive. And special teams-wise, because that's where he cuts his teeth, they're going to be much better as a special teams football team.
And last but not least, it seems like everybody is signing off on the 24-game playoffs in college football. Aside from SEC, Greg Stanke still feels the SEC is the best of the West, so to speak. Your thoughts on everybody pretty much signing off aside from the SEC?
I think keep it as it is. Why do you have to change it? And you know who's the instrument of this, who started all this stuff about 4 years ago? Craig Fooey from ABC 15. He's been screaming for more playoff games, more playoff teams, pounding to death. We need 20 teams. I said, 20? Because now they get 24. It's like, have you lost your mind? Fooey loves this stuff. Bring everybody in. The regular season won't mean anything. Hey, let's not take those out-of-conference games where we're playing Texas versus Ohio State. Forget about those because we're going to have to put the Citadel on the schedule and Southeast Louisiana State on the schedule because you know what? We got to win those extra games to get to the playoff. All we have to do is win 9 games, guys, and we can make it to the playoff. That's ridiculous. Get the cream of the crop, the best teams that are there. And I still love Notre Dame, but the problem with Notre Dame is I don't know why they get a free pass with its 12 teams now. If they're ranked in the top 12, they're in. That's baloney.
Just think, Mark, your Pitt Panthers and my K-State Wildcats, we got a better chance at 24.
We got a shot, but the problem with my Pitt Panthers, they can't get past that 8-game barrier mark. They can't win more than 8 games. I think it's like twice in the past 15 years they've won more than 8 games in a season. They even won the ACC championship game one of those years, and that was it. But they just can't get over the hump, unfortunately. The Kansas State's got a chance. They always have a chance. With all the money that you pump into that program, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They should be at the top of the Big 12.
Yeah.
When you come to campus, that limo says NIL across the front of it.
Yeah, I mean, and that statue of Manucci, the nose, I mean, no.
I'm mad at him.
All right,
he didn't bring me a gift or a present from Italy. I was expecting a nice bottle of wine. Some Chianti.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's kind of limited, but next time.
He's so cheap. He didn't want to pay the fees, like what do you call the fees? The airport fees. You bring stuff back in the country.
Duty
fee. You didn't want to pay the duty fee.
No.
I see.
I wanted to come back. I didn't want to spend jail time in Italy.
So, Mark, I just want to ask this quick one, and we'll let you go with this.
Sure.
I mean, how do you really feel about the Cardinals?
The thing is, hey, look, I put my blood, sweat, and toil with 2 years of this football team under Joe Bugel because Joe Bugel was my offensive line coach in Washington for 9 out of my 10 years. I came and made an effort here. We almost got the 500 one year.
Yeah.
Didn't get it the next year. And you know what? It's a team that I played for. I really would like teams that I played for in the past to do well. But the way this team is treated, particularly by the owner and the front office down, they get what they deserve and deserve what they get.
Yeah, I was talking, just poking some fun the other day with our sports professor Rick Horo, saying, "Hey, Stan Kroenke is upset with what's going on in Inglewood." I said, "Hey, come on out to Arizona. Move the Rams here. Move the Rams here, and then why not? And then the Cardinals could go back to St. Louis. How do you think about that?"
And they're looking for teams in St. Louis, aren't they not?
Yeah.
The only thing is usually when a team is run this poorly in the organization and is hated in the media, hated by other teams, they find a way to get them out like Dan Snyder and guys like that. The guy that was in Carolina before they turned it over. They find a way to get those guys out of the league. Why is this Michael Bidwell still running this organization? Please, can anybody give me an answer? A decent answer?
No, I mean, you would think that just 1 year he'll just spend money and just and hire the right people to do the right job, and this team would start winning. This city would totally be on board. It would go crazy.
They're starving for it. If they would ever do that, even if you gave the effort that here we're signing all these players in free agency, you know what? We're going to spend all the money in our salary cap. We're going to get these guys in. We're going to find the best coaches. There are coaches in this league that wouldn't return their call when they call for an interview. That's how bad this team is.
Okay,
there
but Mark, I mean,
that have done that I know for sure because they told me did not have their agent return their call.
But can you make a case when they were bringing in the Boomer Sisons and the Emmett Smiths? Remember they were bringing in all those old timers to retire here. I mean, I think they thought that was a way to get people big names here.
Yeah, but there are old guys getting the bag at the end of their career. You got to get young, hungry guys that are going into their second contract, maybe their third contract, guys that are athletes. Right. You can bring them in that are going to be guys that are productive for 2 or 3 years. Even if it's an older veteran, if he can be productive for 2 or 3 years, get you on that right track to get you to 9 wins, 10 wins, get you to the playoffs. That's all this Valley needs. He could double the price of the season tickets, and nobody would complain if they did that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, thank you as always for bringing it, man. Appreciate you, man. Have a good weekend.
All right, guys. Enjoy it.
Yeah, it's Mark May joining us, 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's presented today by All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing company. Whether you're stranded or need professional transport, All City has the experience to get the job done right. 24/7, 365 days a year. They're hiring drivers, dispatchers, administrators right now. So if you want to join a winning team, head to allcitytowing.com and just search careers. All right, you're going to hear Steve Peters, and our one call has him talking about the passing of Claude Lemieux. That's next.
fight fans, Twin Peaks is your headquarters. Catch the greatest fight night action all month long, including premium matchups and wall-to-wall sports with no bad seat in the house. Grab made-from-scratch food, scenic views, and ice-cold beverages served at 29 degrees while every punch, takedown, and main event plays across the lodge. Don't watch the fight at homes. Watch them at Twin Peaks, where the energy feels like fight night. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
The best defense is a good offense at Studs Against Bugs. Our Tri-Guard technology attacks pests at the source and keeps a barrier around your home year-round. Scorpions, shut down. Ants, pinched. Spiders, game over. Right now, new customers get their first treatment for just $99, a $229 value. No contracts. Call or text 480-670-4529 or visit studsagainstbugs.com. Studs Against Bugs, defending the valley one home at a time.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. The insurance company's job is to pay you as little as possible. Our job is to get you every dollar you deserve. Call Lerner and Rowe today and let's make them pay. Call 977-1900. You're invited to Baines Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf to get custom fit for the all-new Titleist GTS drivers. Find the perfect driver for your swing, helping you gain superior distance, accuracy, and speed by personalizing your performance. Be the first to have the new Titleist GTS drivers by booking or fitting in-store or online at worldwidegolf.com. Trusted by golfers since 1963 and home to the legendary 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee. Baines Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Get there.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code TRACK to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code TRACK to borrow up to $10,000. Use code TRACK to borrow up to $10,000.
It's the Lerner and Rowe one call, that's all call of the day. If you're looking for a full service law firm, just make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
Anybody who's ever played against Claude Lemieux does not like him. It's his competitive nature. He will do absolutely anything, and I mean anything, to win. He's incredibly competitive, but more so, you're right, that personality, that gregarious, that confidence that he displayed. And I passed him many times in the last decade in Arizona. We'd see at the rinks, and just gracious and friendly, and he's so outgoing, and I'm completely stunned, but it just proves you don't know what's going on the other side of the phone, on the other side of the room. And it's so sad. And we need to come together as a sports community and just take care of everybody. And I said this earlier today. I challenge everybody listening right now, when this interview is over or when you finally make it home from your drive, pick up the phone and call somebody in your family, a friend of yours you haven't talked to in a long time. Ask how they're doing and mean it and listen.
That's Steve Peters on the passing of Claude Lemieux, talking about him just a little bit earlier in reference to, hey, look, if you just never know what somebody's going through. And we talked about Claude Lemieux and the passing of him just yesterday. And Steve, who was part of the assistant coaching staff at the Arizona Coyotes, now with ESPN, just kind of say, hey, look, if you get the chance, go ahead and call somebody, see how they're doing. So that is our Lerner and Rowe one call, that's all. If you've been injured in an accident, You'll try to handle it alone. Lerner and Rowe has been voted Arizona's best personal injury law firm year after year. Interact, need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900 or visit lernerandrowe.com.
All right, on tap this weekend, D-backs, of course, in Seattle tonight, 7:10 on the flagship, the mothership, 98.7. Tomorrow, same time, 7:10. We will have the Spurs and Thunder here, Game 7 at 4:30. And then on Sunday, it's a day game up there in Seattle, 1:10. D-backs Mariners on the mothership, 98.7. Good stuff there, and always brought to you by Bud Light, the official partner of Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. So there you have it. But, Mark Bay bringing it, Manuch, bringing it. He's such bitter because that press pass he didn't get.
No, I think he speaks the truth. I really believe. I think for a lot of Cardinal fans, they're really tired of mediocrity, and they're tired of bringing guys in that have never been head coaches, bringing coordinators that just tired. They want to see this team turn, or they're not going to show up. And I think at this stage of the game with the Arizona Cardinals, you're going to have to build it to get a lot of those fans back. But he just went through it. This 17-game schedule, right now, you'd be lucky to win 2 games, 3 maybe. But it's just some of the things that they do on the cheap and they don't do it in the right way. I think a lot of fans are starting to get tired of it. They want to see some change. They want to see legitimate change, and I think more so than anything on the football field. And it might even be in the front office. It might be talking about teams on the hot seat. Monty Ossenfort might be one of those guys on the hot seat going into this 2026 season.
No question. All right, have a good weekend. We'll be back here on Monday. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We know you have choices. If you may have missed anything, just download the Arizona Sports app. Max and Bird Lads, good job back in studios. We'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend.